Cricket balls are red, baseballs are white, American footballs are brown, and tennis balls are yellow. We don't even think about it really, but the story behind the tennis ball is actually quite interesting and even involves Sir David Attenborough. I know. Well, here's the tale. Tennis is widely known to be a French sport. It dates back to the 12th century when people used handmade balls, and it was then called tennis, which is the verb to hold in French. And people used some pretty wacky material to make the balls with: cork, wool, chalk, animal fur, and even human hair. A few centuries on, Germany got dead into the tennis too, but wanted to make a few modifications to the ball to make it a bit more effective. Around this time, an American chemist had just created something called vulcanized rubber. Out of that, people started developing air-filled rubber balls, which were properly bouncy, but either red or grey in colour. These were manufactured in Melton Mowbray. That's right, the home of the pork pie. One problem, the balls kept on breaking on impact with the racket. The call of "new balls please" seemingly coming over every other point. Step forward English lawyer and tennis enthusiast John Moyer Heathcote, who suggested balls be covered in flannel to stop them from degrading. And thus the modern-day tennis ball was born. But these were white or black, so how did they become yellow? Well, in 1967, the controller of BBC Two, one Sir David Attenborough, decided the corporation should show Wimbledon on colour TV. He got his wish, and it was wide into people's homes across the country. The only sticking point? The white balls were nearly impossible to see on the screen. So the International Tennis Federation, sensing an opportunity, started developing a new ball that would be visible even without the need for 4K LED displays. Not that anyone had that in the late 60s. After rigorous testing, they came up with the colour optic yellow and decided every ball be coated in that colour from there on in. And there you have it. Tennis balls are yellow, all because Sir David Attenborough wanted to watch Wimbledon from the comfort of his own front room. You could say the ITF aced it.
Very good morning, you. It is 4 minutes past 6 o'clock. This is talkSPORT Breakfast with Donald Clark. Build your own car deal online, all with a few clicks to make buying your next car easy. I'm Jeff Stelling Ally McCoist is looking lost.
Here!
But he is here, in body. But he's either gone deaf or he can't find any headphones. And there they were, right in front of his eyes. Morning, Coisty.
A very good morning, friend. How are you?
Yeah, we're ever professional here, aren't we?
Yeah, we really are.
Look, I have to tell you, I know you went to Wimbledon yesterday, but I looked at the papers. Sarah Ferguson, Princess Beatrice, Eddie Redmayne, David Beckham, Joanna Lumley, Marvin and Rochelle Humes, Sam Thompson, Gareth Southgate, Frankie Bridge. They're all got me. Were you in disguise?
Do you know something, mate? Not only worse than that, didn't get a Pimm's, didn't get a strawberry.
Did you get the avocado?
No avocado and no peas. No avocado and no peas. I did, however, find a glass of wine. Listen, I did find a great game of tennis, Jeff. Great game of tennis. Alcaraz versus Fognini.
Yeah.
The wee fella was brilliant.
Yeah.
He'd one of those attitudes, Jeff. Now, he clearly did. But you know that way sometimes at the end of a point it looked as though he didn't care. He walked about and had a wee smile on his face. He was really likeable, played some brilliant tennis, had to leave before the end, had to go and do that podcast night Kyrgios, which was great fun as well. But I missed the end, which was I was kind of gutted about. But what a good game of tennis.
Oh, look, I watched it. It was magnificent. And by the way, and you're right about Fognini, who's, 38?
Yeah.
Probably his last Wimbledon, certainly his last Wimbledon. And even when he knew he was beaten, when he was, 5-love down in the final set, he still produced the occasional flash of genius.
Brilliant.
And that smile that lit up his face,
Oh, I loved it. There was a couple of rallies early on in the game, and he played a couple of wonderful, wonderful shots, and the crowd just took to him, and he was standing there in the middle of the court with his hands out like that, loving it. It was brilliant.
But for me, the best moment of the tournament so far, and I know we've already one day in, came afterwards when Alcaraz, who must have been exhausted, taking it to 5 sets in tremendous heat, stepped out on the court and led the applause for Fognini, and got a magnificent reception from the crowd, by the way. But I thought it was sheer class from Alcaraz. Sheer class.
I mean, Alcaraz clearly I didn't think was at his best, but that said, I mean, I was reading his record of 5-setters and the way he finds ways to win games. It was brilliant. It was just a terrific afternoon, and there was one special wee moment. It's very similar to what you were saying, where they had a great rally, came to the net, and Fognini passed him. I don't know how he did it. It looked as though he transferred the racket out his hand and just passed him a little kind of drop shot, and Alcaraz looked at him and kind of smiled, and they both had that, that was a piece of brilliance there. They look at each other, and there was a resignment from the two of them. But Alcaraz had just been beaten by a piece of brilliance. So great day, good crowd, hottest day. I've got to tell you, Jeff, I don't know how they did it. I mean, we were thankfully sitting in the shade, but dear me, hottest first day at Wimbledon ever, the ring.
I mean, some of the people who were there, 4 strawberries. There were 4 strawberries sitting in the crowd next to each other. And they had this headgear, and they must have been absolutely wilting inside their strawberry hats.
I couldn't imagine sitting out in that sun. We were thankfully a little bit at the back and in the shade, and it was, I tell you, it was a lifesaver. It was an absolute lifesaver. You could see the amount of fans. There was a boy selling fans outside. He must have made a fortune.
Absolutely.
But good day.
A bit of entrepreneurship. Be well rewarded. But now, look, if you're just waking up this morning and you haven't heard the news, the Club World Cup, barely registered, had it on football's Richter scale, but my goodness, it has now, with one of the biggest shocks, dare I say, in the history of the game.
Yeah.
The Saudi Arabian side, Al Hilal, have put Manchester City out.
Al Hilal coming forward again now. The cross in, looking for Milinkovic-Savic with a header. It's blocked, but it's turned in. And Al Hilal lead 4-3. Can you believe this? Kausazar has made it 4-3 to the Saudi Arabians. It was a brilliant save initially by Edison to keep out Milinkovic-Savic, but Kausazar bundles the ball in almost on the goal line, and Al Hilal lead 4-3.
Now, obviously, we'll talk about City a lot during the course of the morning.
Yeah.
But that's a result, I think, that will reverberate around world football, because the natural order that we've always seen has been completely demolished in one game. Saudi football has announced itself on the world stage.
That's exactly what's happened, Jeff. I mean, it's in terms of it's the biggest result that the Middle East in that league could have dreamt of. It really is. It's a fantastic result for them. No matter what happens now, the fact that they're taking the scalp of Manchester City is very, very significant. And you're right. I mean, it's one of the biggest shocks and surprises we've had in a long, long time. Got to say, didn't watch the game, only saw the highlights. I know we'll talk about it later on. City defensively looked, as poor as they looked in stages last season, literally all over the place. But that said, flip side of the coin, positive. What a result for Al Hilal. What a result that is.
And Mark has texted immediately. He said, breaking news, Manchester City lose a friendly. Mark, we can't have it all ways. No. Manchester City have gone there to win that tournament. No question about it. They made no bones about that. They had an incredibly strong team out. Rodri came on and went off. Eight Nouri started. Got most of their new signings started or played some part during the course of the game as well. Pep Guardiola, that is a match that he wanted to win. No question about that. And I think the biggest concern for him will be, apart from the defeat, defensively, they look no further forward on the basis of that than they were last season.
No, and also you're looking at the two centre-backs, obviously Diaz and Vardiol. We always thought that Vardiol might move in one player left centre-back with Diaz. Oh, dear me, but the headers looked... They were losing headers in the middle of the goal. Goalkeeper looked a bit shaky, I've got to say as well, Jeff.
Yeah.
No, I'm with you, right? That ain't no pre-season friendly, right? Pre-season friendlies are one thing. You know, when you're played millions and millions of pounds, your club's looking to win the tournament and it's financially beneficial for them, and you're playing a strong team, that ain't no friendly.
And by the way, Al Hilal were without their main man, Alexander Mitrovic, who didn't play.
He's been tremendous for them
in the game. So worrying times. I guess if you want to look at a positive for City, it's done.
Yeah.
They can go home,
correct,
maybe get a bit of a breather and reorganise.
Certainly given, I would imagine it's certainly given Guardiola something to think about. He'll be looking, listen, it doesn't matter what the game is. If you're looking at your team and they're looking all over the place against any opposition, it gives you cause for concern. And that, what I saw last night in the early stages in the morning, will give him cause for concern, no doubt.
I mean, Pep had said before the game, he said, look, maybe in November, December or January, it'll be a disaster. We're exhausted and the Club World Cup has destroyed us. Well, the Club World Cup has been a deal shorter than Pep might have imagined it would be. I don't think anybody would have anticipated a result like that. You couldn't have imagined it.
Not at all. Not at all.
I wonder what price Al Hilal were to win the game. I would imagine a huge price in a two-horse
race. It's a massive... The flip side of the coin, you touched on it, Jeff. It's a massive night for that club, that league, that part of the world. Simple as that.
Yeah, absolutely. Simone Inzaghi. Of course, the man in charge of Al Hilal.
Just gone there.
Days. Just gone there, yeah. And, well, he would like to think he's made an immediate impact, because that's one heck of a result.
Anybody, Jeff, thinking it was a friendly, should just have a look at his reaction on the sidelines when the goals are given.
Yeah.
That would indicate no friendly.
And Agent 1872 has texted said, Ali, is it a bigger result than Rangers losing at Queen's Park at Ibrox? Yes. They put the knife in straight away. The fact that it's only 6:15 in the morning.
It's the answer to that, yes.
City fans, let's hear from you this morning. Is losing to Al Hilal humiliation, I think it is? Or is it actually a positive that they've got time to prepare for the Premier League? Think it is. 03717 223344 is the number. Give us a call. City weren't the only ones to suffer an upset. Inter knocked out by the Brazilian side Fluminense. Those result means that Chelsea's path to the final. We shouldn't take anything for granted.
No, that's I'm reading that and I'm saying to myself, that's typical, isn't it? Path to the final. We've just saw Manchester City get knocked out. We've got Chelsea in the final.
Yeah, Chelsea have got Palmeiras in the quarterfinals, and then followed by the winner of Al Hilal against Fluminense. So, look, you're on the face of it, Chelsea's path is relatively straightforward in some respects, but
well, the fact of the matter is, if somebody said to Chelsea, would you rather play Al Hilal or Manchester City?
Yeah,
you know, they would say they'd rather play Al Hilal, and that's after them coming off of that fantastic result. Yeah, what a wonderful result for them.
6:14 coming up. We turn our attention to the back pages. A brilliant day for the Brits on day one at Wimbledon, despite the lack of avocados.
plays that villain role very well now. It's crying out for a little bit more attention. It comes with a lot of crazy people. I took it personally and it kind of made me rebel a bit more. To be honest, I don't really care anymore. I'm never going to change.
Morning, this is talkSPORT Breakfast. I'm Jeff Stelling Ally McCoist is with me. I wondered which Blondie track DJ Ed would pick. Pretty good choice, really.
What would your favourite be?
Call Me. Call Me, I think, you know.
I would probably go for Atomic.
And Atomic, yeah. And Heart of Glass, all classics.
Yeah.
And the reason we're playing it is, and you're not going to believe this,
Oh, my goodness.
Debbie Harry, Blondie, is 80 today.
That's
80.
That's officially destroyed me this morning.
That is scary,
That has
isn't it?
destroyed me this morning. 80.
The difference, Coisty, is you look more 80 than she does. Sorry, mate. You had a hard day at Wimbledon yesterday.
Tragically, you're correct. And I can't even blame it on my hay fever, but I'll tell you,
Brilliant.
she was magic.
Absolutely.
That album with Parallel Lines.
Yeah, Parallel Lines, brilliant.
Brilliant, wasn't it?
I think she was in Glastonbury, wasn't she, a couple of years ago as well?
She was fantastic.
Yeah.
I didn't mind a bit of Blondie.
Rab from Ballymena has texted and said, morning lads, top show as always. Can you give a big shout out to my mate Luke Gaston? He's getting married on Friday. He met you, Ali, in Ballymena last month while you were cycling for Doddy's great charities.
First port of call was Ballymena. As I said to you, Willie John McBride was there. All the guys and the girls came out to see us. It was brilliant. I just cycled there from Belfast. We arrived at Ballymena Rugby Club. I was looking for some to eat, and of course one of the guys just hands a pint of Guinness right in my face. The last thing I needed, but I was under pressure to drink it and I managed it. But the people of Ballymena were fantastic.
Brilliant.
It was great to see them.
Luke, have a great day on Friday, won't you, mate? Congratulations. Nick, who's an Oxford fan, says, so by your logic, Plymouth's win over Liverpool in the FA Cup means the Championship is now on a par with the Premier League.
Not on a
It's
par.
nothing more than a couple of percent. That wasn't what we were saying.
Of course, it's not in a par. But it means they're capable of competing.
That's right. It shows that Saudi Arabian teams have got to a level where on occasion they can compete with the best teams in the world, which City unquestionably qualify as. Yeah. That's for sure. So we're not saying it's going to happen every time a Saudi side is playing a European side, but it's the first time that a Saudi side, to my knowledge at least, has gone head to head with one of the European giants
in a major tournament
and come out on top in a major tournament. Absolutely. Thank you very much indeed for that, Nick, though. Let's look now at today's back pages with Tesco Mobile for Business.
Back page review on talkSPORT with Tesco Mobile for Business. Are you a freelancer? Get business phone bills for up to 40% less than the big mobile networks. For terms and verification, visit tescomobile.com/business.
Just before we talk this up, I should say, I was working out Blondie and Debbie Harry, she's 80. That means she was born in 1945. Now, what else happened in 1945?
Well, the war finished.
It did, and it just reminded me, could have gone either way, couldn't it? That. In the words of the immortal Ray Parlour, World War II.
No getting away from it. It was a good one of our better results.
Yeah, Germany always a tough place to go to.
That was terrific, wasn't it?
Marvellous. Morning, Sam. You must wonder what you've stepped into here.
Oh, dear. We're talking about Parla in Brazil there.
Yeah.
Oh dear, that was classic.
There's a never-ending fount of stories.
Very good.
Brilliant.
It was very good.
So I'm guessing the back pages are full of Wimbledon, are they?
Absolutely, full of Wimbledon. Headlines like hot stuff, Scorchio, red hot Brits, and that it was 32 degrees in SW19.
Sam, it was boiling.
Oh.
I'm telling you right now, it was absolutely boiling.
Sat in the stands under that sun. It must have been.
Well,
were you like in the royal box there? Did you have an umbrella and a bit of sun cream?
I wasn't, but we were behind it and we were in the shade, and it was a lifesaver, honestly.
I thought you'd have had one of those, the ball boys or ball girls, holding the brolly behind you.
He did, he's just not letting on.
No,
he wants to be
quite.
relatable, yeah.
But I was saying to Jeff, there was somebody outside selling fans. A roaring trade he had yesterday.
I was going to say, how much were they?
Oh.
More expensive than a Pimm's. Right,
But we had a great day, I must admit. It was fantastic.
Very, very jealous. But yeah, very successful for the Brits. For the women, Sonny Cartel was the first player through with her victory over 20th seed Ostapenko to kick things off, which seemed to start a bit of a knock-on effect. Katie Bolter then won world number 9, Paula Badosa. Also, Emma Raducanu got the win against fellow Brit Mimi Zhu. And for the men, Cam Norrie, Arthur Ferry, Oliver Tarver, all through as well. And that last name, Tarver, as well. 21 student over in America, won 99 grand, right? Yeah. But because he studies at the University of San Diego and has developed his game in the National Collegiate Athletic Association system, the rules state that players are restricted to how much money they can claim from professional tournaments. The maximum they can claim is $10,000, so that's just over $7 grand. Yeah. So that's all he can take. But I think he can use the rest in expenses, which he apparently said he's racked up 50 plus
That's
grand.
What he said, yeah.
So,
he said it's an expensive game, tennis. I'm going to find a way to spend 60 grand in the next couple of days.
You hire your own 747 to get you there.
Yeah. I was stunned, to be honest, I was stunned that 99 grand for winning your first match. I think that's quite a lot.
So do I.
Yeah, it is. It's a lot of money.
The total prize money.
It's humongous. It's humongous.
A couple of mil.
I watched a lot of it yesterday. I love Katie Bolter because I have to say when Paula Badosa, who she's playing, won the second set, and Katie Bolter was right up against. He thought there's no way she can win this match. No way. But after every point, she talks to herself. She's got incredible determination and absolute cliche, never say die attitude. And I loved it afterwards when she was asked about nerves and she said, I was bricking it. And I thought, well, that's something we can all understand.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely brilliant.
She said that she felt like a schoolgirl again, didn't you? And you could hear it in her voice, the excitement and how proud she was. And doing it as well in the stadium.
I've got a genuine question here, okay? A genuine question. And I'm not sure who this is down to, whether it's the BBC or Wimbledon. Why do they insist on conducting the interviews after match from about 10 yards away from each other? I mean, it's like a throwback to COVID. It seems nonsensical. And it's much harder to establish any sort of rapport when you're standing that far away from each other. And I don't get it. And I don't know whether it's a BBC thing or a Wimbledon thing. But, you know, those days are gone, guys. You know, let's get close up and personal.
Tell you the first thing I noticed, Jeff, Sam, when I got there, clearly we're talking about it yesterday. No line judges. It was amazing.
Oh, I know.
It was the first thing. You look at the place, first thing you notice, no line judges.
It felt quite bare, didn't it?
Yeah. It did.
Yeah, there were once or twice as well. I think particularly with Badosa, you know, she thought she got a bad call. All of a sudden, she's gone. Oh, there's no one to complain to.
Do you know what was brilliant watching the game yesterday? The wee man, the wee Fanini, right? Anyone that had a doubt, he just turned his head straight away and looked at the umpire. And to be fair to the umpire, on numerous occasions, he looked at him and went with his fingers. Just to let him know it was just out, you know what I mean?
Tell you what, he did well, didn't he, giving Alcaraz a run for his money?
He's brilliant.
He was brilliant.
A few people thought, oh, he's going to do it here. Fifth set, over, what was it, 4 hour, 23 minutes?
Was there a stoppage? Because I only saw a little, I think the first 3.5 sets, but there was I read somewhere there was a stoppage. Which didn't suit him.
Alcaraz was the first to spot it. Somebody was taken ill in the crowd, which is not surprising in a day like that. So consequently, there was a stoppage.
Although people are saying he played the day before that match. He played Andy Murray, didn't he, in a round of golf? In this heat. Is that really the right preparation? Is that little bit taking things for granted that he was going to have a bit of a walkover against Fanini? Who knows?
Did he play that day at golf?
Yeah. It was a good day for Emma Raducanu as well.
Of course it was.
She's not going to get too... Well, she will get a lot of headlines this morning. But she was under such pressure, you know.
She had to win
a
that, didn't she?
17-year-old Brit.
She had to win.
Absolutely. And something you don't see very often from Raducanu, at least in my view, was at the end of the match... Massive smiles, big celebration.
Yeah.
You don't see her smile often. Look, I love her as a player. You know, we know how good she can be from a US Open win and also the one at Wimbledon that year. But she's under massive pressure. I was so pleased for her.
No, I'm with you. You mentioned it yesterday.
Yeah.
When we were talking, maybe in Sue, we were talking about just want to see her play with a smile on her face because she looks as though she's kind of lost her way since that US Open win. But no, I think that was a kind of, you know, wouldn't say it was a no-win situation for her yesterday. It was a big game for her, a big victory for her.
Yeah, you just wanted to play with a smile on her face. She's so young, 22.
Yeah.
And again, more Brits go today, 9 of them.
Draper on today, is he?
Yeah, Draper's on today.
Yeah, so he's the British number 1 on our best hopeful as such. He's 4th in the world. He's against Argentina's Sebastian Baez. We were talking on Early Breakfast as well. What are we going to rename Murray Mount and Henman Hill? With a D. Draper. So we had Draper's Drop, Draper's Den, Draper's Dune. So hopefully he'll get through round 1 and we'll see.
I'm on that. I'm going to
a friend of the show, Dan Evans, plays today as well.
I like him.
Yeah,
I like Dan.
Dan's a great lad, so good luck to him.
Yeah.
And Heather Watson as well.
And Heather Watson. Yeah, let's hope it's as successful a day today
Fingers
as
crossed.
it was yesterday. Thanks very much indeed, Sam.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sam.
And that was a look at today's back pages with Tesco Mobile for Business.
Backpage review on talkSPORT with Tesco Mobile for Business. Are you a freelancer? Get business phone bills for up to 40% less than the big mobile networks. For terms and verification, visit tescomobile.com/business.
Text from Liver Sausage Larry. Morning, lads. Ali, I know you like your cricket.
Yes.
With all the sport going on, did you notice, and I didn't, that Surrey scored 820 for 9 declared in their first innings against Durham? Is this a record? Wow.
How many centuries?
I've got no idea. I mean,
I'm going to check that up.
You
Top
know,
score.
Yeah, it's incredible. 820 for 9 declared.
I can't think of any higher.
By the way, what a day in the field that is in those temperatures. Can you imagine? Incredible. Coming up, we turn our attention back to that huge shock. Man City have been knocked out of the Club World Cup by the Saudi side Al Hilal. How concerned does Pep need to be ahead of the new season? We'll discuss that next. 03717 223344 is the number to call to have your say.
let's be honest, we've all found ourselves raging at a referee's decision at some stage. Something like this?
That is an absolutely shocking decision.
They've got a case in that it was a bad decision.
It's such a poor decision.
Yeah, I think he's just made a bad decision in that instance.
But what does it take to get to the very top level of football refereeing? You can apply to become a referee through your local county FA from as soon as your 14th birthday. After spending several hours either in the classroom or on the pitch, they'll grant you Level 7 status, which allows you to officiate amateur games. Then you'll work your way through the ranks of amateur football, not reaching the National League until Level 2. It's a long process, bearing in mind every level from 7 upwards takes an average of a year. Also, there's no specific number of games you have to ref or hours you have to log before moving on up. You simply just have to be good enough. Once you're Level 2 and have enough experience at a National League level, you can apply to the EFL to become a Level 1 referee. Then it's on you to get enough experience to climb through the ranks and eventually become a Premier League referee. In total, there are 37,000 registered referees across England, but the PGMOL has only deemed 21 good enough to officiate games in the top flight. So if you want to make it to the top, there's less than a 1 in 1,000 chance of doing it, and it'll take you a decade to get there.
Good morning, 6:35. This is talkSPORT Breakfast. I'm Jeff Stelling Ally McCoist is with me. So much to talk about this morning. Obviously, the Club World Cup, the tennis yesterday, that amazing match. It was the Oval, wasn't it? Surrey against Durham. Surrey, 820 for 9. Andy, I doubted whether you were telling me the truth when you said that Durham won the toss and put Surrey in, but apparently you were. So thank you very much indeed.
It's unbelievable.
It is absolutely incredible. Look, time now for a bit of Club World Cup action. It's safe to say there was a major shock in the early hours of this morning, live on talkSPORT.
talkSPORT's exclusive coverage of the FIFA Club World Cup. An opportunity now for Manchester City, and it's bundled over the line, and the opening goal scored by Bernardo Silva, and the header is in! Marcus Leonardo equalises for Al Hilal, and Malcolm was away and clear here for Al Hilal. What an opportunity! He scored!
And just looking at Pep Guardiola, he looks absolutely stunned.
Haaland with the header, Ake's almost in, there he is! And Haaland is there to equalise. In towards that near post area, and headed in! Kalidou Koulibaly makes it 3-2 to Al Hilal. Now Shirky with the cross in, looking for Foden! Brilliant volley from Phil Foden. 3-3. It's blocked, but it's turned in! And Al Hilal lead 4-3. Can you believe this?
I can't believe what's just happened.
Stop the world! Manchester City want to get off. They are out of the Club World Cup.
Great line, isn't it? Stop the world. Yeah, it's a body blow for Manchester City. Mind you, I would say that John in Bristol has just reminded me, don't forget that Saudi beat Argentina in the World Cup, and they did, didn't they, 2022?
I remember
I think
that.
it was the opening game,
Yeah.
wasn't it? Messi scored a penalty for
That's
Argentina.
That is
Saudi
correct.
came back and won 2-1.
Yeah.
Which was
incredible
a
result.
remarkable result as well. But so was this. Let's get more on that shock defeat and cross over to talkSPORT's Manchester correspondent, Jamie Jackson. Morning, Jamie.
Good morning, Jamie.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Well, what did you make of that?
Yeah, well, I've just come back from the stadium. It's about a 10-minute walk from my hotel. And, yeah, I mean, you know, the shock of the Club World Cup, the shock of the sort of 32-team Club World Cup, is it? You know, this is the first one. I've got to say, it's the old sort of issues, if you like, for City. They defend with this high line. And, yeah, on the one hand, that's what they've always done. And, you know, when they've been really successful, the odd teams turned them over, but, you know, not enough to sort of stop them dominating. But in Ruben Dias in particular, they've got a defender there who's just a bit too slow and can get caught out. And it wasn't just his fault tonight, but basically, you know, and Guardiola said this afterwards, they weren't clinical enough. This is Manchester City in the first half particularly. Haaland, Doku, Gvardiol, other players could have put them out of sight, really. So he's correcting that match. And that's kind of why they put Juventus to the sword, you know, in their previous game. I think it's 5-2, because they took the chances. They didn't tonight. So that's on the attacking way. And then defending, as I say, caught on the break. And it was very easy for them to get through Al Hilal. Now, don't get me wrong, Al Hilal were a top team. The Saudi Arabia's best club side historically, number of titles, all the rest of it. But, you know, one or two passes and they're in. And it wasn't sort of, you know, it's sort of like a bit too simple, really, too often. And so Guardiola's got a bit of a head scratching to do to sort of sort this out. You know, afterwards, just been in the press conference with him, he was sort of his usual measured self, but very disappointed because, you know, he wants to win every tournament. But I have to say, you know, whoever wins a game of football usually deserves to. That's my kind of sort of rule. Whatever's gone on before is a sort of part of the hurly-burly, and then the end of score is, you know, the right result. More times than often. And so what I'm saying is I think Al Hilal deserved it in the end.
I don't think you're wrong, Jamie. I mean, I've watched the highlights and I've watched the goals, and I think you're right to flag up defensively, because looking at it, they still scored 3 goals, City. You'd think normal circumstances that should be enough to win a game of football. But was it the second goal, I think you mentioned, straight through? Was it Leonardo? It's just a simple ball over the top, and he's actually through with the goalkeeper to beat, which he does. But on top of that, I don't think the goalkeeper looked clever. There was crosses. They were losing so many headers with crosses into the box. I think defensively would be his biggest problem. And you're right, it's given him a little bit of a headache, hasn't it?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, you're completely right. Defensively, they are frail, and they were last season. And it's interesting this, because I know De Bruyne has left the club and he's sort of basically injured last season, or, you know, wasn't completely fit. But if you look back at Manchester City, particularly under Pep Guardiola, De Bruyne has always been there to sort of not rescue them, but kind of. So what I'm getting at in this game, when they were behind, I don't understand as sort of normal time sort of approach, the end of it, why he didn't bring Phil Foden on. It only took Rodri, who, by the way, he said afterwards, Pep Guardiola, he's suffered an injury setback, Rodri, because he was a substitute himself. He came on sort of 52nd minute, I think it was, and he had to come off the 100th minute for Phil Foden. But Phil Foden, for me, should have come on early. He's got a heck of a goal to equalise in extra time. It was a sort of a lob through from Cherki, and Foden watches it all the way. And I don't know if you've seen it, but the volley, there's only one angle or one place he can put it, and he puts it there. It was an unbelievable finish from Phil Foden. And he's sort of been, you know, kind of their best attacking player. So I don't know whether he was carrying an injury, but, you know, for him not to come on till minute 100 was a bit of a puzzle, really. So, yeah, I mean, they can be got at too easy. And this was the problem last season, essentially. Yes. They just too often, as I say, you know, very rare before that. I can remember one game, maybe Ivan Toney, that's how far back it was for Brentford. Before the World Cup, he scored a couple of goals and he got turned over this way. But it's so rare, or it was so rare. Now it's become the way to beat them. So, yeah, as we're sort of discussing, I think he has to solve this, really. The front of the team, you know, it's a Pep Guardiola team, is always going to be good. Haaland, I've got to say, he scored today. Yeah. Nice finish, but he looks a little bit not quite off it, but I get it. It's been a long season. I don't know what you call this. Is it pre-season? Is it pre-season? Is it post-season? You know, but there's he scored a couple. But, I think all in all, they don't want to go out, but I think it's been a useful exercise. You know, they bedded in 2 or 3 of the new signings. Cherki looks a good signing. Yeah. But again, why was he not introduced a bit earlier? I can't remember exactly what minute he came on, but it was towards the end of the sort of normal time, maybe the sort of 75th or something. He's a player. You know, I think Guardiola maybe selected this team thinking, yeah, okay, we're not disrespecting Al Hilal, but we get through this and we'll play the quarterfinals with maybe a stronger team. And it's kind of backfired.
Yeah. I mean, the news can't be any worse, can it? If Rodri's had a setback.
Jamie, what about Rodri? I mean, you say it's a setback. A setback would maybe describe to me that it's the same injury. You know, I'm sitting there hoping that it might have been. I know we don't know. I'm sitting there hoping it might be something else that he's come off with. But if it was the same injury, that's a problem. Clearly.
Just to clarify, setback is my word, but he did say he had a problem, or he felt he had a problem and had to come off. So I'm calling it a setback, as in it's only his 5th appearance. Back from the knee injury. Listen, it may well be that, Ali. You know, we just don't know. But the point is, he was forced off, having been a substitute himself. So you know, I don't think it's great at all. Hopefully for him and City, you know, it's a knock, etc. But the fact that he had to come off, especially after I think he certainly started the game against Juventus and looked good. The whole team did. You know, it's not a great sort of eventuality because, again, one of the massive issues he had last season, Guardiola's, he could not solve Rodri being out. I understand, you know, Ballon d'Or winner, all the rest of it, but you have to you can't rely on, you know, one player. We all know that. And that's kind of what happened last season with De Bruyne also being, injury hammered and not quite the player he has been. So, you know, these are issues. But what I would say is I've observed City out here all through the tournament. Before the tournament started, I was at the training camp, and Guardiola is up for it. The players are upbeat. And this is one of the things he did make a point of saying afterwards, just now, just a couple of hours ago, whenever it was, saying that it's been a good training camp. The players are happy. He seems happy. You know, despite this, listen, he's not happy about going out. But I'm saying generally, with how this has gone, the squad, the feeling, he does seem happy and content. And so, I think overall, they are going in the right direction.
Jamie, thanks very much indeed.
Thanks, Jamie, mate.
Thank you.
That was the Guardian's Manchester correspondent, Jamie Jackson, out of the Club World Cup. Darren, the Spurs fan, says, Jeff, this just shows the Premier League and other European leagues are not as dominant as we think. It's just European leagues' arrogance. Thank you very much indeed for that, Darren. 6:44, still to come on breakfast.
Superstar Breakfast preview on talkSPORT with Travis Perkins. Find everything you need for your landscaping project in stock and available for delivery. Terms and conditions apply.
Well, after quite a brilliant day at Wimbledon, day one yesterday, we'll cross there again live this morning to get all the latest on today's action and, of course, the latest on Avocado Gate. And we will have everybody's favourite transfer Tinder. Don't miss that. That was our look ahead with Travis Perkins.
Superstar Breakfast preview on talkSPORT with Travis Perkins. Join the club and get low trade prices. Find out more at travisperkins.co.uk or download the app.
plays that villain role very well now. It's crying out for a little bit more attention. It comes with a lot of crazy people. I took it personally and it kind of made me rebel a bit more. To be honest, I don't really care anymore. I'm never going to change.
This is talkSPORT Breakfast. I'm Jeff Stelling Ally McCoist is with me. A bit of Country House by Blur, which we're playing because darts legend Bobby George has confessed that he overdid it by building 18 bedrooms in his mansion in the 1990s. He called it George Hall. And when he asked about the 28 different rooms, he said, my poor wife has got to clean them all. We always assumed she's still somewhere just hoovering away. Coist, did you ever think about downsizing to 18 bedrooms?
No, I'm quite happy in my 24. I'm quite happy in my 24. Listen, what possessed him? I tell you what, too. I wonder how many of them are en suite.
Yeah.
17 ensuite bedrooms.
Well, you know, Bobby, he's a bit understated, isn't he? A bit understated. He needed a jewellery room for stars.
Oh, he was brilliant when he came in, wasn't he?
Yeah, fantastic.
He was in tremendous form when he came in. But his poor missus. I mean, what a house for the kids to play hide and seek, right enough.
You could get lost for a week in there, couldn't you? Absolutely brilliant.
Oh, dear.
Bobby regretting his 28-room mansion. It is 6:50. His wife will already be cleaning today, won't she? Yeah, she'll have started by now.
It's like the Fourth Road Bridge. A guy painting the Fourth Road Bridge. Once he finishes, he's got to start again.
Yeah. All right, let's have a bit of this. Yeah, what an opening day for the Brits it was at Wimbledon. 7 Britons in the men's and women's singles draw, progressing to the second round after that first day. One of the most successful days for British players at Wimbledon ever.
I think it might have been the most successful day I read. I think it might have been one of the reports.
Yeah, may well have been.
That's incredible.
Emma Raducanu through, Katie Bolter, brilliant. Sonny Cartel, also fantastic as well. Cameron Norrie, Arthur Ferry, Oliver Tarvett, one of the stories of the first round. Billy Harris as well, who was brilliant and got through almost unnoticed, in truth. Let's round it all up with talkSPORT reporter Amelia Beltrao. Morning, Amelia.
Good morning, Amelia.
A very good morning, gents.
Hey, Amelia, is this a family affair? Is your mum down at Wimbledon as well?
Yeah, I saw a picture.
It might just be. We were working, not with each other, but next to each other yesterday, so that was good fun.
Well, I saw a rather splendid picture of the two of you enjoying the sunshine and enjoying the tennis, and I thought, good on you. I missed you, Amelia, because I was down there myself yesterday.
You're only down the road from me, I realised.
It was fantastic. I thoroughly enjoyed my day, but it was a great day for the Brits, wasn't it?
It was a fantastic day, as you say, opening era, the best, most successful first day for Wimbledon for the Brits. And I could actually get better, you know. I mean, some of the draws are quite tough for some of them. So like Emma Raducanu, she's got a tough next draw. Of course, Ollie Tarvett is going to be playing Carlos Alcaraz. But, you know, we spoke to Arthur Ferry yesterday, and he actually felt really quite confident about his next opponent because he's only, I think, 59th. So there's an option there. Katie Bolter, her opponent's going to be, it's actually not too bad as well. So it's not actually necessarily over for a lot of them.
Yeah, well, it was a tough start for Katie. He wasn't up against the 9th seed. But, I mean, Jack Draper's in action today as well. And I just wonder whether he'll take encouragement from seeing Carlos Alcaraz yesterday, because we saw he's human. We saw he has fallibilities.
Yeah, of course. But I think the good thing is about with the Alcaraz, and we haven't quite seen it with Jack yet, is that we can see that he's got that stamina to go through those 5 sets under those conditions. We haven't quite seen that with Jack, although we got him to the set. He was in the semi-final of the US Open, which is obviously great to get that kind of experience under your belt. We don't know how he fares under doing those really long 3, 4, 5 hour matches yet. But still, this may be the opportunity to do it. Obviously, he's got the crowd support behind him. It just depends whether he actually ends up utilising that support to sort of give him momentum to get through the tournament, or the pressure gets to him.
I mean, it's funny. I mean, I watched that game, the best part of 4 sets of that game. Missed the ending of it. Fabio Fognini, he is a crowd favourite, man. I loved him. Absolutely loved him. I loved his performance. Everything about him, he was great. But another couple of guys, Djokovic obviously going for that record place today. And I think Yannick Sinner opens his account today as well. So a couple of big games there.
Yeah, as you say, obviously Djokovic going for his record-equaling 8th Wimbledon title to try and match Roger Federer's, as well as trying to get that 25th Grand Slam. And he always said that Wimbledon was going to be the place to do it for him. French Open, he didn't really have much luck there. He kind of hinted that might be his last French Open. But then he's also said recently he's still interested in defending his gold medal at the Olympics in LA. So we don't know what it means for his Wimbledon hopes, whether this is going to be his last one, because he's 38. He's the same age as when Rafa retired. Yeah. Roger was 41. So this could very much be his last Wimbledon. And then we've obviously got Sinner in action as well. He'll be wanting to sort of avenge his French Open heartbreak. He'll be taking on another Italian. There are lots of Italians in the draw this year. So he'll be taking on an Italian on Cento, I believe. Yeah.
Look, it was a great day yesterday. It's going to be a great day as well today with Djokovic and Draper and Sinner all in action. I should mention Dan Evans as well.
Coco Gauff
starts today. Coco Gauff plays today. The big question, of course, Amelia, is have you managed to track any avocados down? Is there any in the press room?
Avocados? No, I haven't seen any avocados as of yet. I'll keep an eye out though throughout the week and I'll let you know.
Brilliant. Have a fantastic day.
Enjoy the day.
Say hello to your mum as well,
Thank
Amelia.
you guys. I will. Thank you guys. See you later.
See you later on.
Anybody's wondering about mum, by the way, it's Jackie Beltran.
Correct.
Who works for Sky and absolutely brilliant.
Well, it was a brilliant picture of the two of them.
Yeah.
Which I saw yesterday, and enjoying the sunshine, enjoying the tennis. I thought, good on you.
Yeah.
Great pick.
Fantastic.
We're in for another great day again today. Heat as well. It looks as though maybe equally as hot as it was yesterday.
You know, I was a little bit surprised, and I know number one is a show court. A little bit surprised that Jack Draper's not on centre. He's on number one.
Yeah.
It is a show court. But
yeah.
I guess there is, so much. Djokovic is on centre. He's going to be a massive pull, isn't he?
I suppose you can't. No, you can't. Clearly can't play everybody on it. But I'm with you. I think we can indulge ourselves a little bit. Some of the Brits on the centre court and things like that.
It's going to be a wonderful, wonderful day. Yet again, my wife's been out walking our dog this morning already, and she says it's boiling already outside.
I saw Harry down there, and I bumped into Harry. Thankfully, he changed from his outfit that we saw first thing yesterday morning at 7:15. He was in good form.
That traffic news, you might have caught it a little earlier on. It's caught people's imagination. Spillage on the A42. Somebody anonymously, and you'll understand why he's been anonymous in a moment or two, said, I'm going to be late for work today. They've closed a lane on the A42 due to something being all over the road. It's awful. And that's why it's anonymous. Thank you very much indeed. Look, it's 6:57, so we can forgive attempts of humour like that. There was an awful spillage on the A42. And now, look, coming up, we hear from a City fan who has no problem with the Al Hilal defeat if it means they're going to get more rest ahead of the Premier League season. 03717 22 3344. City fans, if you want to have your say, we'll take some of your calls next.
It may have all wrapped up around 4 a.m, but you better pinch yourself because you're not still dreaming. Manchester City are out of the Club World Cup.
The referee blows the full-time whistle and stop the world. Manchester City want to get off. They are out of the Club World Cup. They have been humiliated by Al Hilal of Saudi Arabia in one of the most remarkable games this competition has seen so far.
They lost 4-3 in extra time to the Saudi Pro League side, and Scott Minto thinks this will be the result that defines the legacy of this tournament.
My goodness me. I was one of those that thought City would go all the way through to the final. I knew this wouldn't be easy. I knew this would be more difficult than a game against Juventus. But I did not see this coming.
And as our reporter Ben Jacobs has pointed out, Man City will have suffered more than just reputational damage after that.
And this game has cost them over £9 million. If they'd have got to the next round, 15 million at stake as well. Suddenly you're halfway to buying a Ryan Cherky in terms of getting your money back. So Manchester City will be disappointed in terms of their football performance, and it's a financial loss as well.
Elsewhere, a day in the sun for the Brits out at Wimbledon yesterday. 7 of them have progressed to round 2. There's more home hopefuls in action today, including Jack Draper. And Nick Kyrgios has told us he's got an excellent chance this year.
I think Draper's definitely a contender for Wimbledon and pretty much any tournament he plays. You know, he's a great athlete, big left-hander, super professional. I think that, you know, British tennis right now is in incredible form. You've got a lot of good players, a lot of depth, and same can be said about the Aussie tennis. I think Aussie and British tennis, right now it's an exciting time, and you've got a genuine contender in Draper, and I'm excited for him.
And the new Brentford manager Keith Andrews has spoken to the media for the first time since his appointment. He was asked what's to be expected from his first transfer window in charge.
The way of the footballing world, you always have to expect the interest in good players. I think that's just natural. The way this football club has worked, it's never really been a problem. Players come and players go. That's just the nature of it.
There's more at talkSPORT.com.
Good morning, this is talkSPORT Breakfast with the Arnold Clark app. Buy a car and opt into Arnold Clark Rewards to enjoy access to great giveaways and everyday perks. I'm Jeff Stelling Ally McCoist. He's with me this morning. On the way for you, we'll ask 5-time Premier League winner John O'Shea if Manchester United's transfer business so far shows there might be signs of life at Old Trafford next season. Well, they've only done one, really, haven't they? And that's Matheus Cunha. We'll also get Neil Warnock's thoughts on a report that Premier League clubs will allow their training sessions, or at least one a season, to be filmed. And we'll have the rematch you have all been waiting for. Ali against Sam Quek in Simply the Best after Ali's shock defeat yesterday. Speaking of shock defeats, Man City crashed out of the Club World Cup last night, losing 4-3 to Al Hilal. How concerned are City fans ahead of the new season? 03717 223344 is the number to call. Carl, the City fan, has done exactly that. Morning, Carl.
Good morning, Carl.
Morning, Jeff. Morning, Coisty.
How are you, mate? You're a bit disappointed that result last night, obviously, but you don't seem too bothered. Is that correct?
Yeah, to be honest with you, I'm not waking up really disappointed and you know, miffed about it. Sort of it. It's to be honest, it's just it's a glorified sort of set of friendlies, isn't it? Really, every team wants to win it, to look the best and be the best. But it's just not a competition that I've really. I watched the Juve game. Obviously, I didn't get up early hours of this morning to watch last night's game. I'm glad I didn't now. But yeah, I've not been really bothered in any of the competition apart from just that Juve game because it were on at a reasonable time and I had nowhere else better to do, to be honest.
I mean, look, Carl, I get that completely. It's not the Premier League, but you must be a little concerned about conceding 4 goals. I mean, you conceded 4 goals a number of times last season, and at the moment, it doesn't necessarily look like the defence is any stronger.
No. Well, I've just been listening to your show as I was driving into work, and I totally agree with the comments made on Diaz. He is, he's not the paciest of centre backs at all. To be honest, we've had defensive to say we've spent all this money over these last few years. We've spent a lot of money at the back, and it's just never been. It's never been a solid back 4 or back 5 or whichever he decides to play. Obviously, John Stones is a big miss back there. But yeah, going forward, I think they need to get somebody centre half definitely with a bit of pace.
Carl, I know you're out of the tournament now, but are you a little bit concerned that in terms of fatigue, it might take influence your team throughout the season? I know Pep mentioned it. I mean, a lot of players needing a rest, definitely needing a break. I don't know when you guys are going to get it. I don't know when the Chelsea guys are going to get it. You'd be a little bit concerned that it could come back and haunt you a little bit during the season next year.
Well, they've got not just teams like Man City, but quite a lot of teams go on about it, don't they? They're playing too many games, and players are getting, they're not getting as much rest, and they're going into the next games lethargic and etc. And I don't really know the ins and outs of this competition, but why? If Pep was so concerned, and like I read an article just a couple of days ago saying this World Cup could destroy us, or it could destroy next year's title hopes. Why enter the competition then?
There's an easy answer to that, Carl, and that is money. Because it's worth a lot of money. Carl, appreciate your call,
Thanks, mate.
Have a good day.
Cheers. Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.
City fans, you want to have your say? Carl is concerned, believes City need to spend more on that defence. 03717 223344. Newcastle trying hard to spend their money, but they can't.
I know, it's amazing.
At the moment, they tried for Anthony Elanga without success. Looks like James Trafford will end up at St James's Park. And of course, this week they missed out on João Pedro. Former Toon boss Alan Pardew called João Pedro choosing Chelsea a big blow for Newcastle.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of these. So they've obviously got it in time, and wow, I think that's a first-class player and fit well with all those young players around him.
That is, if you just joined us, breaking news, João Pedro to Chelsea from Brighton is a done deal, 50 million plus.
We should have kept Nathan on because the Newcastle will be absolutely distraught about that.
Well, let's get some Newcastle views, shall we? First of all, from the Chronicles' chief Newcastle writer, Lee Ryder. Morning, Lee.
Good morning, Lee.
Morning, guys. How are you doing?
Very well, thanks.
How disappointed will Newcastle fans be with the lack of business so far?
Well, just on Pedro first, I mean, I don't think people were completely devastated. It would have been nice to see Newcastle get over the line with a signing, but I think it was a lot of money for a player who, I think he's got 19, 20 Premier League goals or something like that. Yes, he's got a lot of potential, but that would have been a big chunk of Newcastle's money for this summer. So I don't think people are devastated. I think really Newcastle got a limited spending pot as well, and that would have taken so much out of them going into the next sort of few weeks in terms of the players that they're trying to get. So they must be careful, but by the same token, they need to get a couple of players over the line, and they probably need to do it pretty quickly because Eddie Howe likes to get these players in time for pre-season so he can have a look at them, get them adjusted to the surroundings and start planning for next year.
No, I think that's obvious. I think Eddie will want them in as quickly as possible. The one thing I would say, we seem to be making quite a lot of it, Lee, as we do. It's our job to do that with terms of Newcastle bringing players in. The one thing I would say, I think he's done all right, Eddie, with the squad he's got. I thought a fantastic season last year, obviously Champions League football and winning a trophy.
Yeah, I mean, the great thing about Eddie Howe is that he just gets on with the coaching side of it. Yeah, he'll be frustrated, and yeah, he'll want these players in quickly, but he just gets on and he gets the best from the players that he's got. I mean, Joe Linton being the supreme example, the job that he's done with him, and I mean, there's a part of that on the player as well. But Joe Linton, Fabian Schär, Sean Longstaff, the list is quite long of players that he inherited. If you look at the squad he inherited in 2021, there's a lot of people still here. So Eddie just gets on with it. I mean, Harvey Barnes was another example last season, and really he just needs to add to that now. And you've seen what he can do without having a massive spend in the last 3 windows. So let's hope that they can really kick on next season.
Yeah, and I get that, Lee, but why will they be able to kick on if it's the same squad essentially as last season? Surely Newcastle fans are going to be looking at the likes of Liverpool and seeing how much they're spending, whereas Newcastle, by choice or otherwise, are not doing that at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt about it. They have fell behind, these teams, because they seem to be able to get round the PSR situation a little bit better than us at the moment. And Newcastle are still sort of learning, being in this position that they're in with the money. And, we've had 3 barren windows, but we kicked on last season, we went from 7th to 5th. And in the end, we stumbled over the line in the Champions League, but we got there and won our first trophy. So, that was a great platform for us last season, and hopefully now they can build on that. But I just, I walk around the club and it's a really positive place. Even after 3 barren windows, it's a positive place. The fans are up for it, and they just can't wait for next season. That Champions League music's going to be ringing out at St James's Park again. And people just can't wait.
I know, and so it should be, and it's one of the best places to go, Lee. There's no doubt about that. However, I would have a bit of concern. Clearly, it's a brilliant season last year, Champions League football, and as brilliant as it is, it does bring demands, Lee, and we know that. We're really aware of the demands it brings. And obviously, I followed Newcastle in the last Champions League exploits. I think it was Dortmund and PSG were a couple of the clubs. These are big games, big teams. And the one thing you need, mate, as you know, is big squads.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. I mean, and that Champions League season was the reason we didn't qualify again for Europe.
Correct.
Because, they had 9-10 injuries, and it was very tough for them trying to rotate in between the Premier League games. So, yeah, as I say, they have fell behind a little bit. Man City, Chelsea, Liverpool, Manchester United trying to get back in there, and Newcastle, have got some catching up to do. But let's be honest, I could still write you down now a strong 11 that could beat any of them teams I've mentioned on the day with the players we have now. It's just a case of adding to it. You've got some young players in here who are going to be absolute superstars. Livramento, who's just had a great tournament. With the Euros. We've got Lewis Hall here. We've got Willa Sula. This is a team for today and tomorrow. It just needs to be added to. And I think with Eddie Howe at the wheel, I think we're in a really good place. I'm not trying to cover anything up and butter anybody up. I just genuinely get good vibes from Newcastle still. And I do think next season can be another great one. I really do.
We certainly hope you're right, Lee. I mean, look, there's an obvious answer to this, isn't there, for Newcastle? Sell the women's team. Everybody else is.
Well, this is what I'm saying about the other teams seem to be able to sell a hotel or sell this. I know. And Newcastle, the new PSR was going to be tough. And I've spoken to Peter Silverstone, the club's commercial chief, on a number of occasions, and he said, he's admitted it. He said, look, we are playing catch up with Man City. I mean, Man City, you had your Man City fan on there just then saying he wasn't bothered about going out. They'll be absolutely devastated, the people at the top at Man City, because that's 97 million quid has slipped through their fingers by not winning it. So that's the stakes that Newcastle are competing against. So maybe that was a positive for other Premier League teams that Man City went out, because you know, they're going to miss out on that massive windfall.
The other thing is, as well, of course, actually Newcastle in many ways should be commended for the concern over the PSR rules, because they obviously don't want to break, and that goes without saying. So we can't have it both ways, mate.
Yeah, I mean, look, Newcastle have done everything by the book. Are they under the microscope a little bit more because, you know, they've got so much money in the background? You know, the people at the top might be able to answer that better than me. But at the end of the day, Newcastle have watched on as Everton got deducted points, as Nottingham Forest, you know, they got their finances wrong. They end up getting punished. Newcastle had to sell the academy star boy, Elliot Anderson, who's probably worth 100 million now after that Euros that he's just had. An absolutely fantastic player who I covered right the way from the youth team. I couldn't believe they had to sell him. And Yankuba Minter as well. 2 players they had to get rid of. Thankfully, this year, obviously June the 30th, Premier League's health check deadline yesterday, Newcastle didn't have to sell anybody. So it's already looking better than it was last season. We just need to add those extra couple of players.
Yeah. Lee, thank you very much indeed.
Thanks, Lee.
Thanks, guys.
All the best.
That's the Chronicles chief Newcastle writer, Lee Ryder. Coming up, talkSPORT is, of course, your home of the Lions tour. Coisty, how far did you cycle in Ireland?
I know what you're going to tell me. 555 miles.
Oh, Simon Dent, our next guest, during the course of the Lions tour, he is going to walk 1,000 kilometres, which I think is around 650 miles, something like that. Walk 650 miles. That's coming up after this.
Plays that villain role very well now. It's crying out for a little bit more attention. It comes with a lot of crazy people. I took it personally and it kind of made me rebel a bit more. To be honest, I don't really care anymore. I'm never going to change.
morning. It's almost 7:20. It is Tuesday, the 1st of July. This is talkSPORT Breakfast. I'm Jeff Stelling Ally McCoist is with me. Holidays. It's supposed to be a relaxing time, aren't they? Cocktails around the pool. I'm more of a beer man, to be honest, around the pool or anywhere else. Lying on the beach, etc. However, it's not the sunbed every morning for those who race. I don't understand that. Anyway, Jason Cundy on the Numpty Bar last night revealed a story from a recent holiday, admitting he couldn't take it anymore. Take a listen to this.
And what they used to do, on their way back from dinner, they would save it on the way back from dinner to their room. I swear on my life it's
What
true.
do you mean?
Well, they would then...
for the next day?
Yes. It's the next day. They'd have the same beds every single... And I'm like looking, going, how do you not get this guy? Yeah, you get the same bed every day. So anyway, come back with... they were staying in this, not near the block I was. Just going back, see them. Go back in, come back out. Throw like a towel or book or flip-flop or something like that on there.
What, at night?
At night, pitch dark. So I went there, grabbed it, threw it away in the bush.
You're out of order.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not out of order. That is fair game. You want to play games like that, right? I'll play my games as well.
It's not true. That is nonsense, isn't it? You know why, Coyce? Because you go to Portugal and so do I. If you put something out at night, the condensation that you get, even in a hot climate, means it's soaking in the morning. And that's why I don't believe a word of what Cundy... Well, I don't normally believe a word of what Cundy says anyway, but I certainly don't believe that. You got any time coming up away? Heading for the sun lounges?
Yes. I'm off to Portugal, mate. I cannot wait. And I'm just going to chill. Good couple of weeks over there. I love it, Jeff. All the gang are coming over, mate. We'll just chill. Couple of beers, bit of golf, down the beach. I love going for a swim when we're on holiday. I mean, I get in the water nearly every day if I can.
Yeah.
And I'll
sort of in the pool rather than the sea?
No, I get in the sea.
Oh, the sea is cold. The Atlantic is freezing.
It's amazing you saying that, Jeff. I genuinely do not find that cold. I went in the water up in the north of Scotland the other day there, right? And it was absolutely perishing. So I think that maybe softens me up for the Portugal water. Because we normally hire one of these, the catamaran things, and take all the family out. And then the boys and myself will go in for a swim. And sometimes they find it a little bit cold, but genuinely, I don't find that cold in Portugal. I really don't.
I go in ankle deep. No more than that. No more than that. Right, it's time to get an update on the Qatar Airways Lions Tour in partnership with Tenor Men.
Qatar Airways Lions Tour Roundup on talkSPORT with coverage sponsored by Tenor Men. With Tenor Men's unbeatable product lineup, you get the protection you need for the lifestyle you lead. Find out more at tenormen.co.uk.
Just 500. I know. I did our next guest a disservice, actually, because I said he was going to walk for around 650 miles, something like that. But he's not. He might walk some of it, but he's intending to run it, would you believe? Ultra-marathon runner, Simon Dent, agent extraordinaire.
Wow.
I want him to finish this quickly so he can get back to this country and get me some work. In a couple of weeks, he's running from Brisbane to Sydney, a whopping 1,000 kilometres. Wow. So without further ado, let's cross straight over to Simon to get more on this. Simon, morning to you.
Simon, good morning.
Morning, Jeff. Morning, Ali. Thanks for having me on.
Hey,
great to
Simon,
see you,
look,
great to see you.
I know you like a run, you know, Brighton Marathon des Sables, but this one, what are you thinking of?
Yeah, it's getting out of hand now, isn't it? I mean, basically, a long story short, you guys will both be friends, I'm sure, with Lawrence Dallaglio. Lawrence has a brilliant foundation he set up called Rugby Works, which helps youths that have been excluded from schools. And there's an alarming statistic in the UK that 70% of children that are expelled from school end up in the prison system. So Rugby Works basically really tries to break that cycle, and we teach life skills through rugby to children that have been excluded from school. So yeah, I'm fundraising for Rugby Works. I know, Ali, you've been doing your bit as well with My Name's Doddy. Rugby Works are an official charity partner of the Lions Tour, as My Name's Doddy are. And we're heading out to Australia 2 weeks today to take on this challenge.
Simon, I've got to ask you, mate. I mean, I'm looking. Jeff and I are absolutely amazed. I mean, it's brilliant, and that is a wonderful, wonderful cause and a wonderful, wonderful charity that you're helping out there. What level of training are you doing at this moment in time? I'm guessing I'm not saying all your work's been done, but the vast majority of work will have been done.
Yeah.
But give me an idea of the training that's involved.
Yeah, I mean, the hay is in the barn, as they say. So I'm kind of now just nervously waiting.
Yeah.
But yeah, I started training probably last October, and the mileage got up to about 200k a week sometimes. But now it's really come right down to, I mean, I've been running every day, but I've been running for no more than 2 hours a day. So when we're out there, we're going to be, I say we, it's actually me now, because the 2 other guys who are going to do it have dropped out. So I'm going to be running 70k a day for 14 days straight. So
whoa.
There's a massive element of the unknown, but I can put my hand on my heart and say I couldn't have done any more training, so I'm proud of that.
It's a massive job, isn't it? I mean, what sort of support team have you got, Sam? You can't just be doing it on your own.
No, I've got a friend coming out who's kindly volunteered for 2 weeks, so he's going to be driving a vehicle, not alongside me, but we're going to be meeting every 15k, and he's going to have all my nutrition and clothes and all that sort of stuff. I mean, it's worth noting as well that obviously the weather in Australia isn't great at the moment, which is quite a rare time to be travelling that way and being worried about the weather. But yeah, sort of running in these temps in London at the moment, and then I've heard that Brisbane have got storms at the moment, so it's going to be quite an interesting sort of flip going out there for bad weather.
And who's helped you with your planning, mate? For example, stop-offs, water breaks, hotels, all that. Who's helped you with that?
Yeah, that's a great question, because this has been a team effort. I've got a brilliant coach who's actually based down in Sydney, who holds the fastest known time actually from running from Sydney to Brisbane, from Brisbane to Sydney, Joe Ward. I've had some great sponsors come on board and help me. As I said, the charity has been brilliant, but Joe really has been the one that's put together the route, and it's sort of, as we said, we're sort of running 70k a day. We've got motels at each destination.
Yeah.
And the plan is to be on the road each morning at 5:30 and be back by 4:30 p.m. each day. So I'll be roughly moving about 8 kilometres an hour, but I mean, best laid plans and all that. Let's see how things unfold.
Brilliant. And you're going to arrive in Sydney in time for the final test, yeah?
Well, that's the plan, yeah. I leave Suncorp Stadium on the first test, and I need to get into the stadium in Sydney for the kick-off of the third test. So there's a bit of a welcome committee plan, but yeah, that's the plan. So every step I'm getting closer to the game, and also close to getting home again.
I'm just thinking, when you arrive in Sydney, you don't want to go to the game, you want to go to your bed.
Well, this is it, and I've got lots of mates who are flying out for the third test, and they've got all these plans of clubs and restaurants, and I'm nodding and smiling, but part of me's thinking I'm just going to be ready for bed.
Hey, Simon, so if anybody wants to support you and Delalio Rugby Works, what do they do? How do they do that?
Yeah, thanks, Seth. We've got a Just Giving page, which, hopefully you can put in the show notes, but I'll share on my social media. But yeah, there's a Just Giving page you can find through the Rugby Works websites and my social media. But yeah, it's a fantastic cause. We're a little short of where we need to be on the fundraising, but look, the next 3-4 weeks, hopefully that'll really pick up.
Brilliant, mate.
Simon, I am in awe.
Yeah.
Fantastic, mate. All the very best. I hope it goes brilliantly.
Simon, hopefully we'll get the opportunity to speak to you, if not during it, certainly at the end of it, mate. Very, very best of luck. You're
well, I'd love that, because this time of end of day each day, so maybe check in during the run.
Yeah, that's just great. What you want, isn't it? At the end of the day, to have to talk to me and Coisty. Brilliant.
You can reverse the charges, mate.
Lovely. Good luck, Simon. Nice to talk to you.
Mate. Good luck.
Guys. See you later. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
You too.
I mean, it's an extraordinary effort, isn't it? Amazing. Simon Dent, who is running 1,000 kilometres for charity in Australia.
75 kilometres a day.
Wow. I mean, it doesn't bear thinking about. That was thanks to Tenor Men.
Qatar Airways Lions Tour Roundup on talkSPORT, with coverage sponsored by Tenor Men. With Tenor Men's unbeatable product lineup, you get the protection you need for the lifestyle you lead. Find out more at tenormen.co.uk.
Stan in Burnley says, Jeff, I once removed 40 40 towels from every sunbed around a pool in Menorca at midnight and threw the lot in the pool. The ultimate revenge, Stan. Thank you very much.
Well done, mate.
Coming up, we turn our attention to Arsenal with constant rumours every day about signing a striker. Why we're still waiting? We'll ask one of their former stars, Perry Groves, next.
What's a goal?
It may have all wrapped up around 4 a.m, but you better pinch yourself because you're not still dreaming. Manchester City are out of the Club World Cup.
And stop the world! Manchester City want to get off. They are out of the Club World Cup. They have been humiliated by Al Hilal of Saudi Arabia in one of the most remarkable games this competition has seen so far.
And as our reporter Ben Jacobs has pointed out, Man City will have suffered more than just reputational damage after that.
And this game has cost them over £9 million. If they'd have got to the next round, 15 million at stake as well. Suddenly you're halfway to buying a Ryan Cherky in terms of getting your money back.
Elsewhere, a day in the sun for the Brits out at Wimbledon yesterday. 7 of them have progressed to round 2. There's more home hopefuls in action today, including Jack Draper. And Nick Kyrgios has told us he's got an excellent chance this year.
I think Draper's definitely a contender for Wimbledon, and pretty much any tournament he plays. You know, he's a great athlete, big left-hander, super professional. I think that, you know, British tennis right now is in incredible form.
And the new Brentford manager Keith Andrews has spoken to the media for the first time since his appointment. He was asked what's to be expected from his first transfer window in charge.
The way of the footballing world, you always have to expect the interest in good players. I think that's just natural.
There's more at talkSPORT.com.
7:35, July the 1st. Very good morning to you. This is talkSPORT Breakfast with Arnold Clark. Build your own car deal online or with a few clicks. They make buying your next car easy. I'm Jeff Stelling. Ally McCoist is with me. Interesting appointment by Brentford. Keith Andrews taking up Thomas Franks as manager. And Keith spoke to the media for the first time yesterday. He's used to it, of course, because he's a Sky Sports pundit, or has been in the past. These days, he's the Brentford set-piece coach, or he was, until he was appointed manager. talkSPORT's Ollie Klink asked him if the club is ready to continue their recent success.
No assurances. Listen, I think the reality is it's a football club that's been built in a certain way and has certain ways that they do things which aren't always the norm. The support, if I look at Thomas as an obvious case, that he received throughout his tenure was nothing but impeccable. The relationships that Thomas built up with Phil, Matt and all the staff around that was very, very connected and aligned, and I don't see that being any different, really.
Well, it is an interesting choice. Obviously, they've plumped for continuity.
Yeah, absolutely. Wish him all the best. Big shoes to fill. Tell you, Jeff, I'll tell you right now, I think he did a fantastic job at Brentford. And Keith's right, the club's running a kind of, if not unique way, a kind of special way of doing things. You're right, he's got that job to hopefully give them continuity, but I think it's going to be a really interesting start to the season for Brentford with changing manager. They look as though they might lose one or two key players. Hopefully from their point of view they don't, but interesting time for Brentford.
Big boots to fill, aren't they? Thomas Franks boots. But we wish Keith all the very 100%. Best, that is for sure. On to Arsenal now. A lot of talk about who they're going to bring in at the Emirates, but not much has actually happened at the moment, particularly a striker. You surprised, Coisty, that we've heard all the talk.
I'm the one that's harped on for a bit. It seems like it's certainly 18 months, whatever it may be, that they've needed an out-and-out centre forward. I know they've played Mourinho and Havertz and boys like that up there, and that kind of false name, whatever you want to call it. But I just think they've been crying out for an out-and-out centre forward, a goal-scoring penalty box predator. So I'm surprised, and then the Arsenal fans must be looking at Lincoln Liverpool, for example, going and getting their business done almost immediately.
Yeah.
Which is, from a power of strength, looking to strengthen the squad, and and time will tell what will come up next season. But you got to say they're going about it the right way. If I'm an Arsenal fan, I'm sitting there saying, where's my centre forward?
Yeah, well, look, I mean, we've seen Liverpool, Chelsea, Manchester City all strengthen their squads. Are you starting to worry, Arsenal fans? 03717 223344 is the number to give us a call. Let's get more in it right now with former Gunners star Perry Groves. Morning, Perry.
Groves, morning, mate.
Morning, boys.
Look, Perry, are you concerned? We've heard, lots of rumours, haven't we? Gyökeres and Sesko, so on and so forth, but nothing concrete yet.
Yeah, well, I was talking to Alan Smith the other day, and Smudge says that he's been intensive training for the last 2.5, 3 weeks, and he said his left knee's actually all right. He's having ice baths, so he thinks he should be fit for the beginning of the season. But I'm not overly concerned, boys, at the minute. If you see, I think they report back for pre-season training next Monday. The first game isn't until 22 days against AC Milan in Singapore, so. We've got a little bit of time. If it starts getting, into the first sort of week, 2 weeks pre-season, then you might get a little bit concerned, because Coist will tell you, ideally you want all your players reporting for that first day on pre-season, where you have your new signings that all probably stand together and they're a little bit nervous, do you know what I mean? And then they're going to do their run-in, and they're going to get all their stats down to see what level fitness is. But I'm not panicking at the minute.
Groves, you tell me, mate, what do you think the overall situation has been at Arsenal in terms of no number 9? Do you think it's, maybe the manager, the coach, hasn't seen MD that he wants to go and get, wants to hang his hat on, or do you think he's maybe not been supported by those above him? Because, I mean, let's be honest about it, mate. We've been looking for, it seems like a long time now, and the team has been crying out for an out-and-out centre forward. Yeah, there's an element of of Arteta not wanting to, I don't know, rock the boat, or for the life of me, I can't understand it.
Do you know what, Coisty? I think from Arteta's point of view, his position has got stronger and stronger the longer he's been in the job. You know, when he first went in, he was the coach, wasn't he? So obviously you're happy to have the job and you go, but he knew the players that he wanted to get rid of, so he had to get rid of the players. Talk about number 9. He knew that he needed to get rid of Aubameyang because basically he doesn't like any big-time Charlies. You know, he wants everybody to be buying its same work ethic, wants humble players. So he had that to do at first. Then Declan Rice was a priority, you know, spent £100 million on him. And I agree with you, Coisty. Now, it is the 100% priority is a centre-forward, a number 9, because the chances that Arsenal create, if you're half decent, Coisty, in your prime, you're playing up front for Arsenal, you would be expected to get between 20 and 25 Premier League goals.
You'd be disappointed if you wouldn't, Groves, of the chances you created and the creative players on their side.
Exactly. And Andrew Burt has come in. I don't think he would have come in, 1, if there wasn't any money to spend, and 2, if he didn't know the targets, obviously, which they had. And it looks like, from the outside, it's going to be a straight shootout between Gyökeres and Benjamin Sesko.
So who do you pick? If you had the choice, Perry, who would you pick? I mean, Gyökeres, prolific, 27. Sesko, not as prolific, but only 22.
100% it will be Victor Gyökeres, because, as you said there, Jeff, he's 27. He's 5 years further down the line in knowing his trade. And again, Coisty being a centre-forward, you're raw. At 22, you're still learning, you're raw. Gyökeres has proved he can score goals in the Championship for Coventry, who are a decent side, but not one of the top teams. He's gone over to Sporting. He's got 97 in 102. And if you look at him as well, in the Champions League, his record is very good. It's 11 in 17. So that every level that he's played at, he's proven that he can score goals. With Sesko, as I said, a little bit rawer. And I don't think, well, I know that Arsenal haven't got time to develop players with potential. They need to have players that go straight in, know their trade. And the thing that surprised me when I've seen Gyökeres play, I know that he's mobile and his movement's good and he closes and press down. If I said to you two boys, who's the quickest out of Gyökeres and Isak, who would you say?
Well, I would automatically have said Isak, but you're going to tell me I'm wrong, aren't you?
Yeah, Gyökeres is actually, his stats, he's quicker than Isak, which I thought was very surprising. Do you know what I mean? So
I agree with you, but I think you make a great point, Groves. I'm with you. I think, listen, there's no doubt he's a great player, but I think, I'm not saying you're guaranteed goals, but everything's a gamble, but Gyökeres is far more like a finished article as a centre-forward.
That's what you want, isn't it? Somebody who can fit straight in and score goals straight away, hopefully. Grovesy, thanks very much indeed.
Thanks, pal. Have a great day.
Cheers, boys. Have a good week. See you later.
Cheers, mate.
Look, I don't normally do gags on this show, but I've got one here. I'm going to read it out, okay? It's from Pete in Gateshead. Morning, Pete. He said, Jeff, I had a quick joke for you. He said, what's made of brass and sounds just like Tom Jones? Trombones. Brilliant, Pete. Thank you very much indeed, mate. Made us laugh. Excellent. Still to come on talkSPORT Breakfast.
Superstar Breakfast preview on talkSPORT with Travis Perkins. From excavators to skips or cement mixers to pressure washers, Travis Perkins Hire has all your landscaping needs covered.
Man City fans, we need to hear from you. If you didn't stay up through the night, I've got some bad news for you.
Stop the world! Manchester City want to get off. They are out of the Club World Cup. They have been humiliated by Al Hilal of Saudi Arabia in one of the most remarkable games this competition has seen so far.
Yeah, Al Hilal, I asked what price they would be. Nigel Adderley tells me they were 9-1 to win that game. Cool. And they did that in extra time, beating City by 4-3. City fans, was that a humiliating defeat, or is it a positive? There's some extra time to prepare for the Premier League. Go 03717223344 is the number. Give us a call. At 9:30, we'll build up to Wimbledon Day 2 with Nick Kyrgios. Ali was actually on Kyrgios' Daily TalkSPORT podcast yesterday and asked what he knows about the rumours of a romance between Emma Raducanu and Carlos Alcaraz.
I think it's a love triangle. I think Draper, Alcaraz and Raducanu, they're fighting over Raducanu, I think. I'm not sure. But
this is the stuff we want.
This is the good stuff.
This is why I'm here, Nick.
in-depth, incisive Wimbledon chat from McCoist and Kyrgios.
Was not interested in any tennis. I just wanted to know the who's who.
You wanted another goss, didn't you? Ali will probe more later when Nick joins us. You can watch that full episode right now, by the way, on the talkSPORT YouTube channel. And that was our look ahead with Travis Perkins.
Superstar Breakfast preview on talkSPORT with Travis Perkins. It's easy to hire at Travis Perkins with a Travis Perkins trade account.
He plays that villain role very well now. That's crying out for a little bit more attention. It comes with a lot of crazy people. I took it personally and it kind of made me rebel a bit more. To be honest, I don't really care anymore. I'm never going to change.
.50 Tuesday, July the 1st. You might have just caught me saying that. I've got some bad news. I have Coisty for you.
Oh, no.
Here it comes. John from Sunderland says, Ali, when are you going to Portugal? Sunderland's pre-season is there in 2 weeks. Myself and 2,000 Mackhams will meet you there for a beer.
Louise, I love that. She loves, she'll adore that.
Yeah. By the way, John says you're buying as well. That's the really bad news. James, the Arsenal fan, says, I've heard the reason. This makes sense, by the way. I've heard the reason Arsenal haven't signed anyone is due to PSR. Apparently signing players after the 1st of July drags it into the next financial year. You're absolutely right, James. So you'll see a few completions over the
could make sense, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, it does. There are obviously just more than one way to do it. We've seen Liverpool do their business early. Arsenal just taking their time. Right, it is time now for a bit of this.
Stick a load of singles in there and then they fall in love.
Of course it's hard. It's supposed to be hard.
A 36-year-old, you'll have the knockers, you will.
Just because it's offering its teat, do I really have to muscle on that?
Is there anything in your personal life that could be causing you stress, sir?
I'm not a great lover.
Hello, what's your name?
Sarah Louise.
Sarah Louise, you're up for it, aren't you?
I was in love at the time, that's what I was doing.
At the time?
Yeah, it's that time of the day again. Sam is with us.
Yeah, time for a little bit. Yeah, swipe left or right. But I was just doing this before. Do you remember online dating when it first came out? So 1995, Match.com was the first one, followed by eHarmony. Anyone have a go back then?
No.
Anyone on the slide just doesn't know?
No. Never. Never.
And then Tinder revolutionised it in 2012 with the apps and the swipe left and swipe right.
It's amazing.
So yeah, I won't give too much away, but I was single before 2014.
Yeah, I read somewhere the other day, though, that there was a movement away from the apps now, and that people were starting to meet each other again in the flesh.
Wow.
That's so much easier, isn't it? You know, in 5 minutes. You know, in 5 minutes if you're going to like someone.
Of course you
None
do.
of this back and forth texting nonsense.
What's the other one they do? Where they sit down for 5 minutes.
Be very careful. Speed dating.
Yeah. What's that all about? So you sit with somebody for 5 minutes, have a bit of crack, and then move on to the next person. Is that what it does?
Yeah. That's right, yeah.
People who haven't got a lot of time. I think I'd quite like that. If I was single, I'd do speed dating, face to face. You know, don't you? Within a few minutes.
You wouldn't need 5 minutes with us too, Sam. You'd have made your mind up in 5 seconds.
I'll be swiping. What is it? Right or left? Right or left for Tinder? What is it?
Right is a yes and left is a no.
Okay, so shall we get going on our first
Let's go.
Tinder transfer? Okay, first up, we've got the lovely Ollie Watkins, Aston Villa to Manchester United. No price tag yet, but Villa rejected £60 million from Arsenal back in January. He's 29. Getting on now, height 5'11". Very happy in a 5-year relationship currently with Villa. But red, I suppose, always catches the eye. And his friends are also saying that Manchester looks okay. There'll be no glamour trips to Europe, however. And if he does move into Old Trafford, don't forget those roof leaks, because when it rains, it pours. So Watkins to United. Swipe right or swipe left?
Left. Yeah.
I am shocked.
That was quick.
Well, I'll tell you why. How can they sell him? What have they got? They've got rid of John Duran, haven't they? So who are they going to play? I don't think they can see, unless they. I mean, from Manchester United's point of view, all day.
Yeah, from Ollie's point of view and from Manchester United's point of view, it's a definite swipe right, isn't it?
I get it.
And he was upset, wasn't he, because he was left out of the Champions League game against PSG.
Yeah, but you can't. How can Villa get rid of him? Unless if they bring, it's a simple answer for me. If they bring somebody else in, yes, it's a swipe to the right. But you cannot get rid of Ollie Watkins at this moment in time with no backup.
No. Bad move for Villa, great move.
That's exactly what
Great move for Manchester United, so it's a right for me.
There we go. Off
You've
we
got
go.
a match.
Oh, there we go. I didn't know we had that lovely little voice. Hello, you.
We don't hear that very often.
Oh, you've got a match. Okay, next up, Mohamed Kudus. West Ham to Tottenham, £85 million release clause. 60 million West Ham could be open for negotiations. The young age of 24, 5'9", a good height. Now, this particular one would be classed as cheating, in my opinion. No two ways about it. West Ham despise Tottenham, of course, and they'd be hooking up with the enemy. But sometimes, money does talk. So, a player with a trick up his sleeve. It would be quite on brand. Kudus to Spurs, swipe left or right?
Oh, it's the same. It's the same as the last scenario for me. It's a no-brainer for Tottenham, I think. I think he's a terrific player.
It's got a lot to do with PSR, this one, apparently.
Yeah, well, I think he's a terrific player. I really do. I like him a lot, Jeff. I like Kyrgios. And, I mean, West Ham, we don't want to see the back of him for sure, but
no.
I'm swiping right there.
I saw a quote from him there saying, I don't mind doing the dirty by potentially joining a rival.
Oh, dear me.
He said that out loud as well.
That's enough.
Oh.
As soon as you say that.
I'd be fuming.
West Ham and Tottenham, they don't do business, do they?
No, but I tell you what, Jeff.
Scott Parker the last one?
If he's come out and said that, that's already a blot in his copybook with the West Ham guys.
What was the price tag?
Currently, £60 million West Ham could be open to.
I think that's a bit
85 million release clause.
Whoa, I think that's that is on the that's on the heavy side. That's on the heavy side for me.
I think you're going left there. I think I'm going right.
Split. Do we have a little noise for that?
I just think
there it is. Another mismatch. We are always a mismatch.
Right, last one. Oh, I got a soft spot for this guy. Danny Ings to Wrexham for a free transfer, of course. Not currently signed up to anyone. He's most recently been at West Ham. Age 32. He's a mature guy, 5'10", experienced, but also knows how to score, if you know what I mean.
I'm having all day.
You going? Yeah, I think so.
All day, that's all right for me. I mean, Danny Ings will score goals.
You've got a match.
Certainly that, you know. In
and it's a right for me. And that's what they do at Wrexham. You know, they pick up players who have played at the highest level, maybe just past their best, but still capable of scoring goals. And, of course, Wrexham in the Championship next season, they'll need goal scorers, that is for sure. And they'll get one in Danny Ings. I would definitely swipe right.
Me too. I think that's really interesting to see how they'll do next season in that Championship. Really interesting to see how they'll do.
Come a long way from the National League through the divisions. I think it's a big ask for them.
So do I.
You know, Birmingham obviously come up as well. Got the same sort of financial foundations that Wrexham have got. Be interesting to see who finishes the higher of the two. Talking to Gabby a few months ago, even he thought that Birmingham had a chance of going straight through the divisions.
Did he really?
He did. Yeah.
When did he say that?
Wow.
2 or 3 months ago.
Oh.
And it was live on the air. It wasn't just to me.
Watch this space.
I'm not so sure. I've got to say, I'm not so sure. What are you thinking?
I'm thinking they've got a chance, yeah.
Do you?
Yeah, I think they've got a chance. They've got big financial backing, massive club, obviously big support base
I get it.
as well. And I look at the sides who've gone down, and I'm not so sure how much of a threat they will be in terms of going straight back up next season.
I take that point. I just think it's a big ask. It's a big ask. I mean, you and I love that Championship at the best of things, but again, next season we'll be looking forward to it.
As you rightly say, Sam, watch this space.
Watch this space. If it happens, he'll be the first one, won't he, to be bringing up that live broadcast.
Yeah.
With a couple of swipe rights, that doesn't happen very often.
No.
Well done, Sam.
You're two in a good mood today, aren't you?
Yeah. Nobody would ever swipe right with us. Never. Thanks, Sam.
Thanks.
Cheers, guys. Pleasure as always.
Coming up, we turn our attention back to the news that Man City have been knocked out of the Club World Cup by Al Hilal. How concerning is it for City fans ahead of the new season that they leaked 4 goals to a side from Saudi Arabia? Scott Minto called that humiliation. Do you agree? 03717 223344 is the number for you to have your say.
It may have all wrapped up around 4 a.m, but you better pinch yourself because you're not still dreaming. Manchester City are out of the Club World Cup.
The referee blows the full-time whistle and stop the world. Manchester City want to get off. They are out of the Club World Cup. They have been humiliated by Al Hilal of Saudi Arabia in one of the most remarkable games this competition has seen so far.
They lost 4-3 in extra time to the Saudi Pro League side, and Scott Minto thinks this will be the result that defines the legacy of this tournament.
My goodness me. I was one of those that thought City would go all the way through to the final. I knew this wouldn't be easy. I knew this would be more difficult than a game against Juventus. But I did not see this coming.
And as our reporter Ben Jacobs has pointed out, Man City will have suffered more than just reputational damage after that.
And this game has cost them over £9 million. If they'd have got to the next round, 15 million at stake as well. Suddenly you're halfway to buying a Ryan Cherky in terms of getting your money back. So Manchester City will be disappointed in terms of their football performance, and it's a financial loss as well.
Elsewhere, a day in the sun for the Brits out at Wimbledon yesterday. 7 of them have progressed to round 2. There's more home hopefuls in action today, including Jack Draper. And Nick Kyrgios has told us he's got an excellent chance this year.
I think Draper's definitely a contender for Wimbledon, and pretty much any tournament he plays. You know, he's a great athlete, big left-hander, super professional. I think that, you know, British tennis right now is in incredible form. You've got a lot of good players, a lot of depth, and same can be said about the Aussie tennis. I think Aussie and British tennis, right now it's an exciting time, and you've got a genuine contender in Draper, and I'm excited for him.
And the new Brentford manager Keith Andrews has spoken to the media for the first time since his appointment. He was asked what's to be expected from his first transfer window in charge.
The way of the footballing world, you always have to expect the interest in good players. I think that's just natural. The way this football club has worked, it's never really been a problem. Players come and players go. That's just the nature of it.
There's more at talkSPORT.com.
Good morning, 4 minutes past 8. This is talkSPORT Breakfast with Arnold Clark. Get the UK's best used car deals guaranteed. I'm Jeff Stelling Ally McCoist is with us on the way for you this morning. Still loads to come. Legendary football manager Neil Warnock will be on to discuss recent reports that Premier League clubs will open the door on at least one training session per season to allow filming. 5-time Premier League winner of Manchester United, John O'Shea, will be on to discuss Manchester United's transfer business, just the one through the door at the moment. And we'll get the latest on his former Ireland teammate, new Brentford manager, Keith Andrews. And finally, as Wimbledon kicked off in fine style yesterday, former finalist Nick Kyrgios will join us to give us the latest from SW19. But first, should we start taking Saudi Arabian football a bit more seriously? Al Hilal dumping Manchester City out of the Club World Cup last night. After the game, manager Pep Guardiola spoke about the disappointment of exiting the tournament.
So many good things that I didn't see in the past, especially where we were, the relation between the players and our captains helps a lot, and the staff, backroom staff, is sadness because I felt that we were happy here. We were in the training sessions, have been really good, all of them. But the level in these competitions, World Cup, and I said, yeah, the only regret a little bit, I have to review the game a little bit, is that we allowed them to run a little bit more than expected.
And if it wasn't bad enough to be out of the Club World Cup and all the financial implications of that, Rodri came on during the course of the game, but went off after I think about 100 minutes. And there were reports this morning that he has suffered an injury setback. Now, we don't know whether it's anything to do with his previous injury or something new. But if that is the case, that's a huge blow for City.
Oh, if that's the case, a disaster. Disaster for the boy himself, but also a disaster for City. Well, I mean, I don't think it was the sole reason that City's form slumped, but he was a massive part of that. His absence from the City side, Jeff. And I'm just sitting here thinking to myself, yeah, I know it sounds a crazy thing to say, but you know what I mean. I hope it's something else. I hope he's, whether it's a hamstring or an ankle or a muscle injury, and clearly not the previous injury that kept him out for so long. But that would be a real, I'd say it'd be a disaster for City, that. I really would.
Yeah, no question about that. I mean, we haven't heard any confirmed news.
You just hope, we mentioned about it before, when you come back, particularly come back from long-term injuries, you pick up niggles.
Little niggles.
Yeah, because the rest of the body compensates and all that kind of stuff. So you just hope it's something like that.
Okay. Let's get more on how worrying this is for Manchester City ahead of the new season with their former defender, Danny Mills. Morning, Danny.
Good morning, Danny.
Good morning, gents.
So, are we reading too much into this then? A defeat against Al Hilal in what is effectively a pre-season game, albeit a pretty valuable one?
It's not so much about the single defeat. I think now it's about the knock-on effect. I spoke briefly to the guys on the sports bar last night. This is a competition based around money. Simple as that. You know, that's what it's all about. The only reason that these clubs are taking it seriously because there are huge amounts of money involved if you win the competition. And we know how that helps with PSR and everything else and the ability to buy more players. You know, when you're talking £100 million plus, you know, for winning this tournament. Now, if you win it and you get that 100 million, okay, I think it's justifiable. The fact that you've now gone out, you've now been away for a month, 5 weeks, whatever it may be. Now you've got the problem of what does that knock-on effect have for next season? You know, the players are going to be a little bit more fatigued come November, December time because they haven't had this break. You haven't been able to maybe use that 150 million to buy new players because you haven't got it. Simple as that. So your squad isn't as big as maybe you hoped. So I think it's longer term that the problem becomes. Losing a game is not a problem. You know, that's not an issue. But if you look at the strength of the sides that Pep has put out, he's gone as strong as possible in this to win the tournament, to get that extra finance. Now that hasn't happened. Where's the knock-on effect? Like I said, it's not the first few games of the season. The players will be fine. It'll be November, December, January. You know, when the night's drawing, you're getting up in the dark, you're going home in the dark. You know, it's cold, it's wet, and players start to get a little bit of fatigue mentally. That's when they may struggle.
I take your point, Danny. I think it's a valid one. I think it's a fair one. I think the result is A, it's a shock, and B, it's a disappointment. But you would be more concerned about the follow-on effect. The one thing that I would be concerned about, having seen the goals that they lost, Danny, I didn't watch the game, but I saw the goals that they lost. Some of the defending, which we saw last season, seems, well, certainly evident again in that game last night. I mean, particularly in the centre of defence, there was balls getting played straight through. There was Leonardo went straight through the goalkeeper to beat. There was crosses coming into the box. They weren't winning their headers. The goalkeeper a little bit. I just thought, you know, you expect Manchester City score 3 goals. You'd expect them to win the game. What my point is, they looked all over the place defensively again, mate.
I think we've seen it time and time again, Ali. That, you know, it's an old adage. It's a cliche. You know. Defences win titles, strikers win your matches. Yeah. Simple as that. You know, to win the Champions League, to win a league, you have to have a fabulous defence as well as a great attack. City haven't had that. You know, Liverpool were, you know, superb last season defensively. You know, if you don't lose many games, if you don't concede goals, you've always got a chance. And I just wonder now if the tide is going to shift, because this is a trend that's been happening for 5 or 6 years, maybe longer, across the board, where the art of defending has gone away a little bit. But suddenly now I think teams are going to have to readjust their perspective. You know, PSG are maybe playing a slightly different way. Liverpool were more conservative last season than they were under Jurgen Klopp, and I think we probably looked better for it. Look at what Burnley did in the Championship and how they got promoted. And I think especially with maybe teams at the lower end of the tables, you might start to see more defensive displays. Look at what's happened in the past to Burnley, to Southampton, to Ipswich. When you try and play open attractive football, you get battered. You know, simple as that, it doesn't work. So I just wonder if we might start to see a little bit of a shift. You know, defenders are going to have to be, first and foremost, they're going to have to defend. You know, simple as that. They're going to have to be better. They're going to have to be coached better at defender. I've always said, you're a defender for a reason, because you ain't good enough to be a midfield player. And generally, you're a midfield player because you ain't good enough to be a striker. You know, as simple as that. I don't think that's changed an awful lot. You know, we all want to be strikers and score the goals, but sadly, you know, if you're not good enough, you get pushed further and further back. You know, and I know that's a little bit simple at times and maybe a little bit flippant, but that's the way. You know, you're a defender to stop goals going in the back of the net.
Which is interesting, Danny, because you looked at their starting lineup last night. Despite all the money that they've spent, they've got Eight Nouri playing on one side, and I think everybody would accept that. You know, defending isn't necessarily his forte. You know, he's great going forward, and they've still got Mateus Nunes, a midfield player, playing at right back.
And that's the concern. You know, I bet Joao Cancelo on the other side was quite happy with the result last night. I bet he had a little chuckle to himself after.
Danny, first thing I said to Jeff this morning, I bet he's got a Cheshire Cat face. He couldn't believe that.
But if you look at Koulibaly on the other team, Koulibaly's not a fantastic footballer. He's a great defender. You know, and that's what you have to do. We've got this. Again, and it started by possibly when Cancelo moved into sort of this midfield role as a fullback. You then become lopsided. You know, play players in their proper positions. How many times have managers been absolutely chastised for playing players out of position? We've seen it time and time again. You know, we saw it maybe with the England squad over the years. Are you not putting your players in the strongest position? You're putting square pegs in round holes. That's exactly what a midfielder is doing at fullback. You know, there was often talk that Steven Gerrard could play at fullback. Steven Gerrard could play anywhere because he was a fantastic player. But if you play in there often enough in the wrong position, you don't get the best out of him. And at some point, you know, we'll make mistakes. I think you've got to put specialists in specialist positions, you know, simple as that. And I think a lot of teams will look at this. And Pep obviously has almost reinvented football. You know, across the globe in the way a lot of players are coached, a lot of teams are managed. But I think now a lot of coaches and managers will look at it and go, and will actually accept we don't have the players to play that way. We have to be a little bit more pragmatic. We have to be a little bit better than what we've been defensively to try and compete at the top level.
Danny, thank you very much indeed.
Thanks for your time, Danny. Have a good day, mate.
Cheers, gents.
City fans, get in touch. Was it humiliation against Al Hilal? 03717223344 is the number to call. We talked a bit earlier on, Coisty, about that amazing score. Surrey, 820 for 9 declared after Durham put them into bats at the Oval yesterday. We wondered if it was the highest score. And I've just discovered in the Times the highest scores in the county championship. The highest one actually is 887. You have to have a good memory though, because it was Yorkshire against Warwickshire in 1896. Lancashire scored 863 against Surrey in 1990. And Somerset declared on 850 for 7 against Middlesex in 2007. So Surrey's 820 for 9 declared comes fourth. But it wasn't a great day for Durham, to say the least, because not only have they put them in the bat, they then had 28 overs to bat themselves, and they closed on 59 for 1. So not exactly a batsman's paradise. If you're in that Durham batting lineup, it's going to be a long day again for them today, isn't it? That is for sure. Coming up, we'll discuss Jack Draper's chances at Wimbledon and whether they've improved after Alcaraz's first round struggles yesterday.
plays that villain role very well now. That's crying out for a little bit more attention. It comes with a lot of crazy people. I took it personally, and it kind of made me rebel a bit more. To be honest, I don't really care anymore. I'm never going to change.
Good morning. It is, well, very nearly 8:20, Tuesday, July the 1st. Welcome to talkSPORT Breakfast. I'm Jeff Stelling. Ally McCoist is with me. You don't need us to tell you it's an absolute scorch. It could be even hotter today, apparently, Coisty.
Yeah, well, yesterday
talking
was...
about 35 degrees.
Yesterday was boiling. Yeah. Absolutely boiling at the tennis.
Funny, isn't it? You know, you go away to Portugal and all around the world. Heat always seems different. More enjoyable when you're on holiday than when you're in the UK.
Why is that?
I think because...
I mean, you're right, because effectively, well, certainly all I've done this morning was moan about the heat yesterday.
Yeah.
And I'm the very man that moans when we don't get good weather.
You're going to turn into Mr. Misery, aren't you? Look, you don't have to go to work, obviously, when you're on holiday.
Yeah.
And also, hotter countries, generally hotter countries, better equipped.
Handling better.
Absolutely. Air conditioning, for a start.
That's massive.
Massive.
Aircon's massive.
Yeah.
Absolutely massive. And we've got, I'm just reading that again just now, and I said, I looked at it, so I think Newcastle, north of Newcastle, the weather's not particularly great today.
Including Glasgow.
Yeah,
13 degrees.
We've got, I don't know what it is, we've got a microclimate up there. It just rains in the west. It really does. We got a fair share of rain. Having said that, I've got to be honest, Jeff. I mean, maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, there was a brilliant period where 2 or 3 weeks. And it's great. See the difference it makes. How often do you and I speak about it? Getting up in the morning, you come out and there's a bit of sunshine, you walk across the road, and just generally speaking, people are happy and they've got a smile on their faces.
Yeah.
But we certainly get a fair share of rain in the west.
The Glasgow Tourist Board want a word with you, Coisty.
Mind you, what I would say is...
It's too late now.
No, I'm going to back it up, because there is nowhere as beautiful as the west of Scotland, and I'll stand by that.
Yeah. Sam's just texted and said exactly right. He says, of course, all European places are built for the heat, air conditioning, buildings aren't insulated, pools, etc. Sam, you're absolutely spot on. No doubt about that. And talking about air conditioning and pools, it brings us on to Coral and Dave Stevens.
The Coral Daily Download on talkSPORT with Coral, celebrating 50 years of the Coral Eclipse. Oh, that's golden. 18 plus gambleaware.org.
Steve-O, good morning to you.
Hey, Steve-O.
Gentlemen, a very, very good morning. Jeff, I see you and I, for those watching, you and I are channeling our inner Wimbledon here with our white polo shirts on.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
But Ali, you're dressed to go back to Glasgow with your winter top on, aren't you?
Very true, mate. Very true.
Steve-O, have you been giving your swimming pool a bit of use then? I mean, I'm sure you've got one tucked away in the, at the back of the mansion.
Very challenging, this weather, Jeff. You need an extra cube of ice in the rosé, I find, at this time of year. But listen, look, regular listeners will know my other half's a Scouser, so I've spent a lot of time in Liverpool. You try telling them there's a heat wave up there. We've yet to see it, let me tell you, but hopefully it'll make its way there at some point.
Let's talk odds then, shall we? Wimbledon, first of all.
Yeah.
I just wonder whether, Carlos Alcaraz's victory in 5 sets yesterday has just cast any doubt on his favouritism.
I mean, it hasn't, Jeff. What I would say is if there's a better game in the men's draw over the next 2 weeks, we are in for a treat because, Ali, that was an epic, wasn't
I was
it?
there, Steve-O. I've got to say to you, mate, I cannot tell you how much I enjoyed it. And the wee fella was brilliant. He was a crowd favourite. He was brilliant.
Yeah, you felt for him, obviously, but the reigning champion did what champions do, which is find a way. And he's 5-4 favourite, Jeff, to win it again. So we're not expecting there to be sort of any lasting hangovers. Supreme athlete, we know. I mean, 5 sets are in that heat. Yannick Sinner is in action today, 7-4, second favourite. Then it's Novak Djokovic. Just incredible longevity from Novak Djokovic. And then, I know, man, we're going to hopefully hear a lot from over the next fortnight, is Jack Draper. Mm-hmm. He's under at 14-1, fourth favourite. And there are parallels with Andy Murray, Ali, where, of course, Andy was in that era of Roger Federer, of Rafa Nadal, of Novak Djokovic, who's still around. And then it's sort of Andy. And I know Nick Kyrgios says that Jack Draper's a major winner waiting to happen. But when you've got Carlos Alcaraz and Yannick Sinner standing in your way, never mind Novak Djokovic, clearly it's going to be tough. But it's so good, actually. So many Brits won yesterday. Once upon a time, the nation would have stopped in disbelief. But tennis is in such a much better place now in this country that we celebrate them all getting through. But there isn't the shock value that there was 10, 20 years ago.
For sure. What about the Coral Eclipse racing? How are we looking for that, Steve-O?
Yeah, I'm always reluctant to count my chickens with this race, Ali. But we had the 6-day entries yesterday. Yeah. And to say it's a stellar lineup is underplaying it. There's 11 in, but they are superstars through the field. And hopefully, look, we'll find out on Thursday the final field, but it's only when they go in the starting stalls on Saturday do we really sort of relax and know we've got a cracker. But the market's headed by Ombudsman, who looks so good at Royal Ascot in the Godolphin Blue. Looks like he's going to make a quick reappearance. Sosi, Andre Fabre, the great French maestro, hasn't had a runner in the race for 20 years. So the fact he's sending over Sosi, that one's got to be taken seriously. Then it's Aidan O'Brien with the 3-year-old Camille Pissarro, the French Derby winner. And this race is the clash of the generation. So that's what we want. And then there's the likes of Almakam, who arguably brings the best form because he beat Ombudsman at Sandown the time before. And he could come here a fresh horse. So, if we can get the first 5 or 6 in the betting lining up on Saturday, it's going to be a race worthy of our 50th year of sponsorship.
Yeah, it's always a wonderful occasion, isn't it? No doubt about that. Yeah. Steve, a second test gets underway tomorrow, England against India. Look, they don't do draws anymore, do they, in Test cricket? But at Edgbaston, I think, it's going to be a batting paradise. And, there was a lot of great batting in the first test as well. What price is the draw? Well,
England are unchanged, aren't they? I did notice, and there's no place for Geoffrey Archer.
No, and I think we're all, those are, that have followed Joffre. We're desperate to see him back. But you can understand why they haven't changed the winning team. The draw is 9-2, Jeff. That is the biggest price of the 3 outcomes, unsurprisingly, for everything you've said. England, after that brilliant first test victory, 4-6. 9-4 India, but I don't know. It just feels like there's plenty more juice left in this series when you're playing a team as good as the Indians.
Well, that first test was fantastic.
Brilliant test.
Follow that, wasn't it? Steve-O, thanks very much indeed.
Have a great day, mate.
Cheers, gents.
That was a look at the latest odds, all thanks to Coral 18+, begambleaware.org, and Dave Stevens.
The Coral Daily Download on talkSPORT with Coral, celebrating 50 years of the Coral Eclipse. Oh, that's golden. 18+, gambleaware.org.
Coisty, you're in trouble.
What have I done now?
Andrew says, I beg to differ, Coisty. The Scottish borders will have something to say about the West being the best place.
The borders is nice. Very nice. However, I'm standing by my statement. The West Coast, there's something rugged and beautiful about the West Coast, which sadly, in my opinion, nowhere else has. And I love the borders.
Tino says, Ali, the sun was shining this morning in the south side of Glasgow. Maybe the sun comes out when you aren't here moaning about the weather. And Jason in Brora says, Ali, the reason it always rains in Scotland is because the sun shines from within the Scottish people.
Well, I'm going to tell you something. What a place that is, Brora.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Beautiful. What a golf course. I'll tell you, the golf course at Brora. This is the gospel truth. The golf course at Brora has got got electric fences round the greens to stop the sheep and the cattle going onto the greens.
Yeah.
And it's a beautiful course.
Sounds great, as long as you don't mind playing in the rain, eh?
No, it's a different climate. But honestly, he'll tell you. Brora is more East Coast. It's obviously North Inverness, but it's more East Coast. It's a nicer climate. It's amazing.
I'll take your word for it. Coming up, the Premier League from next season is going to allow interviews with substituted players. A training session being filmed with players and coaches mic'd up. Did anyone ask for this? Does anyone want this? We ask a man known for loving change in football. Neil Warnock's next.
It may have all wrapped up around 4 a.m, but you better pinch yourself because you're not still dreaming. Manchester City are out of the Club World Cup.
And stop the world! Manchester City want to get off. They are out of the Club World Cup. They have been humiliated by Al Hilal of Saudi Arabia in one of the most remarkable games this competition has seen so far.
And as our reporter Ben Jacobs has pointed out, Man City will have suffered more than just reputational damage after that.
And this game has cost them over £9 million. If they'd have got to the next round, 15 million at stake as well. Suddenly you're halfway to buying a Ryan Cherky in terms of getting your money back.
Elsewhere, a day in the sun for the Brits out at Wimbledon yesterday. 7 of them have progressed to round 2. There's more home hopefuls in action today, including Jack Draper. And Nick Kyrgios has told us he's got an excellent chance this year.
I think Draper's definitely a contender for Wimbledon, and in pretty much any tournament he plays. You know, he's a great athlete, big left-hander, super professional. I think that, you know, British tennis right now is in incredible form.
And the new Brentford manager Keith Andrews has spoken to the media for the first time since his appointment. He was asked what's to be expected from his first transfer window in charge.
The way of the footballing world, you always have to expect the interest in good players. I think that's just natural.
There's more at talkSPORT.com.
morning, 8:33, Tuesday, July the 1st. I'm Jeff Stelling Ally McCoist, who's with me. Paul's texted, said, Ali, Jeff, I'm up in East Kilbride and it's sunny. Oh, no, wait, it's now raining. Oh, hang on, the sun's out again.
That's East Kilbride, all right. That is East Kilbride.
And I just want to mention this. Hi, Jeff. All my family are tuned into Radio 1. Boo. Listening for a shout-out from my son's cat's 10th birthday. I'm tuned into talkSPORT, so I won't hear it. So how about a mention for Daisy, who is 10 today? So happy birthday, Daisy. That is Leighton's son's cat on its 10th birthday. See? Have you got animals?
No, not at the moment. I've never had cats. Dogs.
We've got dogs and cats, but how on earth people work out their birthdays and remember them?
I was about to ask you that.
Me.
Clearly, Daisy has been born into the family.
Looks like it.
That's the only reason you would know when Daisy was born.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm a big cat lover, but seriously, celebrating cats' birthdays,
That's what it's come to.
It is, yeah. Actually, when I first started to read that out, I hadn't read it properly, and I thought it was his daughter's birthday, which is why I was reading it out. And then 3/4 of the way through, I got to the part where he says...
And you're at the point I know it sounds...
My son's cat's birthday, Anyway, it's too late by then.
And you're halfway down that street, you think to yourself, I'm going to have to wish a cat a happy birthday. Oh, very good.
All right. Now, an interesting story in the news this morning. Premier League clubs set to broadcast their training sessions. I think it's probably one a season. Managers and players will be mic'd up, and again, I think it's one of each per training session, and only for half an hour or so. But it is the latest TV coverage innovation. Now, it comes after reports that live Premier League games will feature touchline interviews with substituted players for the first time next season, as well as half-time interviews. And so after hearing all of this, we thought we'd invite our next guest to just get his views on how he would have coped with things like that and how much he would have welcomed them in his managerial days. Let's say a very good morning to legendary football manager Neil Warnock. Morning, Neil.
Good morning, Neil. How are you?
Yeah, good morning, lads. Yeah, very good, thank you. Yeah, good.
So how much would you have enjoyed having the cameras there for one of your training sessions and you being one of those who was mic'd up?
I'd probably have to just put an act on for a few minutes, really. I'd have to say the right things that they wanted to hear. No swear words or nothing like that, eh? No jokes. So it's one of them things. I can't... I can see the substitution causing a bit of problem when you bring somebody on. I've had some good uns and bad uns. My best one was at one of the playoff finals. I substituted a lad. He come off, took his shirt off, threw it on the floor and sat down, And then the lad I put on went past somebody, crossed the ball, and we scored the winning goal. And so I had the answer there, Alec. You know what I mean? But I've made some bad ones. But I can see, you're not going to be happy sometimes being substituted. And I think they're just trying to get the money's worth, aren't they now?
Well, they are, Neil, aren't they? I mean, they're trying to get them the coverage they're getting in dressing rooms that we'd never had it before, And to be fair, if you're a football fan or a fan of sport, you are, I suppose, in many ways, getting an insight that you would never normally get.
Yeah, I'd agree with that as well. I mean, I went up to Man City a few weeks ago, and I was lucky. I spent a couple of days there, and I mean, to say, the value that they are, the players, they were very, very humble, and they appreciated my humour, and I had a laugh with them about the good job I weren't the manager. They'd be kicking it from there in the air up to the front, and instead of playing all this lovely football. But it just shows you. I think they'll soon get used to that, and they'll do enough to give the TV companies the money's worth. And at the same time, I think they'll be very careful what they say. You can't go saying things that's going to upset the morale or anything.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bit like, isn't it, Neil? Sometimes before, big international tournaments, you'll have an open session, an open training session. But the truth is that while the media is there, nobody does anything.
No, and even, like this competition now with Man City getting knocked out, I think it's the best thing that could have happened, me, if I'm honest. I mean, I know Pep he'll never criticise the owners or anything like that, but like you said, it's done for the money, isn't it, this? And to have another couple of weeks rest now, I think will be vital. I think Liverpool and Arsenal will be gutted that they've got knocked out, me.
We just said, Neil, we just said the exact same thing. I mean, I don't care what anybody says, you know, and I'll be brutally honest, and I said to Jeff yesterday, Neil, nobody loves their football more than me. I haven't really got into the tournament. I mean, I'm watching it now, and I'm obviously...
But Ali, you're only just coming in when they're starting, aren't you? 2 o'clock in the morning.
That's true.
You know,
that's very
you
true.
Want to get to bed at that time, when you just turn up, don't you?
I think you make a valid point. I mean, there is no way on this earth that Chelsea and Manchester City's next season won't be affected by this tournament. It will.
Correct.
We don't know how, but it will certainly be affected in some shape or manner.
It'll be. I used to find out that it was November, December time when problems, either an injury that you had pre-season where you didn't do enough pre-season, it caught up with you about November, December. That's how I found it. So I think, to another couple of weeks rest for these lads now. Because make no mistake, Man City signs, he's done some good, it hurt him last year. Finishing like they did, even though they didn't do bad really. But I think the signings he's made, I think it's going to be a great season coming up now with the, because I think he's made some good signings, as Liverpool have, haven't they? And Arsenal, no doubt, will eventually sign that striker to replace Alan Smith. So it'll be an interesting time, I think, for it's a great league, isn't it?
I just take you off on a tangent a little bit, Neil, because I know you're an ex-Sheffield United man and such like, but Sheffield Wednesday got all sorts of mayhem, with their ownership and players and staff not being paid at the moment. It's the same at Morecambe as well. Do the football authorities need to do more? Does the fit and proper persons that need to be more rigorously enforced to ensure that we do get right and proper owners for these football clubs?
I don't think there's any... they have got these rules now, but, what Chandler's done at Sheffield Wednesday really has been humiliating for the club. I'm a Unitedite in that respect, but I love to see the club the other side. It was the club when I was growing up, and to see it in the situation it's in now, because he obviously doesn't give a damn about the club. He's not paying players, and apparently if they don't get paid this week, they can all go on a free. They can apply for a free transfer. So it's going to be, it's going to be a disaster. And I do think there should be regulations that when clubs get into trouble like that, rather than put the club in, I think the authorities should be able to do something about owners like this. Reading, for many years, everybody knew the Reading guy was, just ruining the club. So Sheffield Wednesday is another one, and there'll be others turning up as well. So you're not happy. Hey, can I just say, Jeff, I did enjoy watching Wimbledon yesterday.
Oh, it's great.
Some of the. I love this Sonic Cartel young lady. I think she got so many guts. And then I watched Oliver Tarver, and I thought, wow, we've got some good kids, haven't we? And then the best one for me, Katie Bolton.
Oh, brilliant.
I thought some of the rallies, because she was a seeded player that she was playing, wasn't she?
Yeah, 9th seed.
And I thought the guts and determination, I thought, wow, put that into football, she'd be a hell of a player, wouldn't she?
That's exactly what, after every point, whether she won or she was giving herself some grief, determined to do better on the next point, Brilliant. Real grit. She was fantastic.
Oh, I loved it, and my old saying, enjoy it by being disciplined, and she did enjoy it. I think every rally she had, and it's great for us, isn't it, in England to have this Wimbledon. I think it brings the best out of everybody, really, especially with the strawberries. I'm sure you'd be having some strawberries, Jeff, if you were there, wouldn't you?
I loved it, mate. I was there yesterday. I'll be brutally honest with you. I didn't have any pims. I didn't have a strawberry, but I didn't half enjoy the tennis, Neil. It was brilliant. Listen, I've got one. On you go, mate.
Ali, one thing there about that, you know, when you actually go and say, I went down on Court 1 a few years ago at Palace, but you know, when you go and watch it live,
mate,
it's so much faster, isn't it, than watching it on the telly. You can't believe how fast it is when you watch it live.
Neil, there's nothing like watching top-level sports people playing live. Whether it's a different sound. The tennis players, when they hit the ball, it's a different sound. Same as the golfers. When the golfers hit the ball, it's a completely different sound, mate. And you're right. Yeah. I couldn't believe being courtside watching Alcaraz yesterday and Fognini. It was just it was magic, mate. Listen, I can't let you go. I've got to ask you one question. I'm getting a bit of stick this morning, mate. I've come out and nailed my colours to the mast, and I know I've got a fair idea you're going to back me up. I said the west coast of Scotland is as beautiful as anywhere on this planet, and I know for a fact it's a place close to your heart. Go and help me out.
Listen, it is the people that they say that they don't agree with that because they've never been there. You know, last time I was up there, I cycled. I took a spare battery. I had an electric cycle. I went to a place called Tinnabrook.
Tinnabrook, yeah, I know it well. What about that hill?
Yeah.
Did you go up that hill when you came out of Tinnabrook?
Yeah. Yes, I did, son. I've got an electric bike, don't forget.
Oh, well done.
But I had to stop the night in a hotel so I can get back the following day with that bad. But some of the scenery around there, I mean, people... That one of the scenery from Dunoon over the top there, when it looks down on the ferry, I mean, it's just you're not going to get a better view in the world, Ali.
Brilliant.
Unbelievable.
That was a backup I was needing, mate. Thank you.
Neil, thanks for joining us.
Have a great day,
nice
mate.
to see you. Cheers, lads. Nice to see you.
We get the idea. For the west of Scotland, it's swipe right.
I'm telling you right now. See that hill that Neil's talking about coming up to Tinnabrook, out of Tinnabrook, up over hill, over to Common Drive. It's a monster. A monster of a hill, and you would need an electric bike, I'm telling you.
Yeah, the Dingle Peninsula in the west of Ireland is stunning, says you have been there. Yeah. You are absolutely right, it is.
Beautiful.
Back to the football, Tom in Wigan says, morning gents, they have substitute interviews and half-time interviews in rugby league for as long as I can remember. I can't see why it would be an issue in football. These TV companies are not run by idiots and obviously won't be interviewing players who come off in a strop. And Pompey Adam has texted in to say, morning Jeff, my parrot keeps reminding me he's from Brazil and is turning 30 soon. A shout out would be appreciated.
Excellent.
Thanks, Adam.
Excellent.
Thanks, Adam. Right, let's look ahead to the next hour of the show with Benchmarks.
Superstar Breakfast preview on talkSPORT with Benchmarks Kitchens and Joinery. Get trade prices on kitchens to suit all styles and budgets at Benchmarks.
Huge final hour of the show coming up with five-time Premier League winner John O'Shea joining us to talk about Manchester United and also the appointment, I think, of Keith Andrews, former Republic of Ireland teammate of his, at Brentford. But first, we have the best quiz on the radio, simply the best. Don't miss that. And that was our breakfast preview with Benchmarks.
Superstar Breakfast preview on talkSPORT with Benchmarks Kitchens and Joinery. All our Benchmarks kitchen doors come with a 5-year guarantee. Terms and conditions apply.
plays that villain role very well now. That's crying out for a little bit more attention. It comes with a lot of crazy people. I took it personally, and it kind of made me rebel a bit more. To be honest, I don't really care anymore. I'm never going to change.
Good morning, 10 minutes away from 9 o'clock Tuesday the 1st of July, and it is time for the greatest quiz on radio, simply the best. And once again, it's a rematch. We've got Ben against Eubank coming up, but before that, two former Question Sport captains, Super Ally McCoist and Sam Quek. Yesterday on debut, Sam created a whole new name for a place where we will send the losers of the quiz.
Berkshire.
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 There's a few in here could live there.
Yeah, it's the scouts that are coming out.
What is it, Berkshire?
It's Berkshire.
Berkshire.
Yeah.
Berkshire. Is there a Berkshire?
No.
It should be.
No.
I like Berkshire.
I like it's nice, isn't it? It's lovely. Apparently all the Scousers and Scots live up there.
So yesterday the bragging rights belonged to Sam via a tiebreaker. What does Ali have up his sleeve today? 3 quick fire rounds. Let's get going. And this first one is for you, Coisty. Wimbledon kicked off yesterday. The big talking point of the day was that avocados have been replaced by crushed peas. Ali, you declared your love of avocados on yesterday's breakfast show. So to prove it, which country produces the most avocados?
In South America. I'm sticking to my guns. It cost me a point yesterday. I moved from South America and went to Indonesia. Avocados. It might not be South America. It might be Central America. I'm telling you, it might be Central America. I'm going to hit you with a ridiculous guess. Costa Rica.
Oh, you were so near. I thought you were going to get it. You're right on the right track. Mexico.
Guacamole. Guacamole.
Yeah. Holy moly, guacamole.
Yeah.
Oh, that was a great effort.
Sam, now, look, I don't envy you this. I really don't, because the question is mind-blowing. The Lions' next warm-up game is against the Waratahs, live on talkSPORT on Saturday. Now, the Waratahs are based in Sydney. So I want to know, how many shells does the roof of the Sydney Opera House have?
It's got a shell roof.
It's got
Was
shells.
it made of shells?
It's got shells on the
Actual
roof.
shells. Oh, you don't know this, Ali, dear.
Are they not shell-shaped?
Shell-shaped tiles.
I don't think they're actually shells.
Not real shells.
No, but they're shell-shaped, as Sean Connery would say.
So how many
How
of them
big
are
are
there?
these shell-shaped tiles?
Some of them are big, some of them not so big.
That's a big help.
I've not got a clue, but I've no idea.
Let's go for 1.256 million.
Oh my God, can you believe it?
5.
The answer's 14.
Oh, they weren't small shells.
No, big shells.
So round 2, 0-0 at the moment. Ali will be speaking to Nick Kyrgios at 9:30, the 2022 Wimbledon runner-up and talkSPORT pundit for the tournament, who you had the audacity to ask yesterday about love triangles rather than actual tennis. Have a listen.
Come on, tell us.
No, I don't know. I think it's a love triangle. I think Draper, Alcaraz, and Raducanu. They're fighting over Raducanu. I think. I'm not sure. But
this is the stuff we want.
This is the good stuff.
This is why I'm here, Nick.
So, Mr. McGossip, as you're such an expert, I want to know what kind of triangle has only two sides equal in length?
Oh.
Is it?
No, I'll give you the answer right now.
Oh, go on. Okay.
It's not equilateral.
No, it's not.
I think it's isosceles.
Is that your final answer?
You're going to give me more options?
I am. Is it scalene?
No.
Equilateral? No. Or isosceles?
I think it's isosceles.
I think you're right. Well done,
Very
Coisty.
good. Didn't even need the options.
Yeah, I didn't need the options. Very impressive.
He loves some math.
Right, Sam, Manchester City were dumped out of the Club World Cup by Al Hilal in Orlando in Florida. So naturally my question is, which of these famous names comes from Florida, the southernmost state of America? A. Will Smith, B. Ariana Grande, or C. Lady Gaga? Who comes from Florida?
You know what I thought you were going to say? I thought you were going to be like Michael. Mark. Or Martin. I was like, I have no idea the history of
Will,
names.
Ariana, or Lady?
Lady.
Yes. Oh, no. Ariana Grande. Yeah. So Coisty leads 1-0 going into round 3. Now, this is entitled Heatwave. Seeing as we're bang in the middle of a heatwave, I found a couple of sports stars whose names are linked to this scorching weather. I'm going to start to read clues out as to who the person is. And the first person to tell me who it is will get a point.
I like it.
So here's the first person. The first clue is in his surname. His surname starts with either Heat or Wave. Okay? He is the goalkeeper who was a runner-up in the League Cup in 2012 with Cardiff.
Heaton. Tom Heaton.
You said Tom Heaton?
Yeah.
Oh, Sam, you're right in there.
Get in.
I had Adrian Heath playing in goals.
I'll tell you what. Never mind the rules. That was the first clue. I think Sam gets 2 points.
Yay!
Yeah, absolutely.
And takes the lead.
I mean,
I deserve -1 for Adrian Heath playing in goals with Cardiff. To be fair.
I was going to go on to say he won the championship with Burnley in 2016, won the League Cup with Manchester United in 2023. He's a runner-up in the FA Cup in the same season. He's still on the books at United, but didn't make a single appearance last season. Tom Heaton, absolutely.
It was all in the clue.
Spot on, Sam.
Did well.
Okay, the pressure's on, Coisty. You trail by 2 points to 1 at the moment. Our next person is someone whose surname is a key clue on how to get through a scorching day. Surname, clue on how to get through a scorching day. He started his career at Manchester United, but didn't make a single appearance.
I want to say Oliver Bierhoff. Just... I don't care who it is. I'm going for Oliver Bierhoff.
It's not Oliver Bierhoff. Let's move on. He moved to Leicester in 2012, making 193 appearances.
Get through a hot day.
Get through a hot day.
I like sun cream. Paddling pool.
Charlie ice cream.
yeah, Freddie Sun Cream, the ex-Leicester City player.
We should be getting this. Hold on.
You should. Look, during his time with Leicester, he lifted the Premier League trophy in 2016.
From Man United?
Yeah. Someone whose surname would help you get through a scorching day.
Okay, go on. Danny Drinkwater.
Danny Drinkwater is the correct answer. That makes it 2 points apiece. We've just got time to squeeze in the tiebreaker. And the tiebreaker question.
I still prefer Oliver Bierhoff.
How many dimples does a standard golf ball usually have? How many dimples does a standard golf ball
I actually know this.
usually have?
I need to look.
Okay, Sam, you can go first then.
I take the point, but how do you know that? You sat there one day and counted.
No idea. I've got no idea.
How many do you think, Sam?
I'll go for 211.
Coisty?
That's got to be more than that. But I'm going to be a gentleman and say 478.
I thought you knew it.
I didn't. I've not got a clue.
Hang on. You've got for 211 and you've gone for 478.
She's gone one up or down.
No, I could easily have gone 212, but I wanted to annoy him and make him count.
Well, the answer is 336. So, Sam, you were 125 out. And Coister, you're 142 out.
Oh,
Sam, you are the winner.
But it was
Here's
worth
the golf ball.
it. It was worth it just to see you do your arithmetic.
It's impressive, that. Very impressive.
Congratulations, Sam. You are this morning simply the best. Tomorrow it's another question of sport throwback as Ali takes on former England cricketer Phil Tufnell.
No, I'll need to get in my bed early for that one.
Alan Brazil's the host and he's expecting a better standard after last week's Agbon Lahore pennant shambles.
What is the name of the tapas dish that consists of mini, often cubed potatoes?
Paella.
No! Potatoes, you numpty!
Paella, that's rice, isn't it?
Oh, that makes me feel better about Berkshire.
Yeah. It's coming up tomorrow, but hey, two-time champion Sam Quick.
Well done.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you, fellas.
Thanks, Sam. We'll be talking to John O'Shea when we come back in a couple of minutes.
Berkshire.
Berkshire.
It may have all wrapped up around 4 a.m, but you better pinch yourself because you're not still dreaming. Manchester City are out of the Club World Cup.
The referee blows the full-time whistle and stop the world. Manchester City want to get off. They are out of the Club World Cup. They have been humiliated by Al Hilal of Saudi Arabia in one of the most remarkable games this competition has seen so far.
They lost 4-3 in extra time to the Saudi Pro League side, and Scott Minto thinks this will be the result that defines the legacy of this tournament.
My goodness me. I was one of those that thought City would go all the way through to the final. I knew this wouldn't be easy. I knew this would be more difficult than a game against Juventus. But I did not see this coming.
And as our reporter Ben Jacobs has pointed out, Man City will have suffered more than just reputational damage after that.
And this game has cost them over £9 million. If they'd have got to the next round, 15 million at stake as well. Suddenly you're halfway to buying a Ryan Cherky in terms of getting your money back. So Manchester City will be disappointed in terms of their football performance, and it's a financial loss as well.
Elsewhere, a day in the sun for the Brits out at Wimbledon yesterday. 7 of them have progressed to round 2. There's more home hopefuls in action today, including Jack Draper. And Nick Kyrgios has told us he's got an excellent chance this year.
I think Draper's definitely a contender for Wimbledon, and pretty much any tournament he plays. You know, he's a great athlete, big left-hander, super professional. I think that, you know, British tennis right now is in incredible form. You've got a lot of good players, a lot of depth, and same can be said about the Aussie tennis. I think Aussie and British tennis right now it's an exciting time, and you've got a genuine contender in Draper, and I'm excited for him.
And the new Brentford manager Keith Andrews has spoken to the media for the first time since his appointment. He was asked what's to be expected from his first transfer window in charge.
The way of the footballing world, you always have to expect the interest in good players. I think that's just natural. The way this football club has worked, it's never really been a problem. Players come and players go. That's just the nature of it.
There's more at talksport.com.
Good morning, 9:05, Tuesday, July the 1st. This is talkSPORT Breakfast with the Arnold Clark app. Buy a car and opt in to Arnold Clark Rewards to enjoy access to great giveaways and everyday perks. I'm Jeff Stelling. Ally McCoist is with me. Manchester City crashed out of the Club World Cup last night. They lost 4-3 to Al Hilal. City fans, are you concerned ahead of the new season following that defeat? Does Pep need to spend even more money? 03717 223344 is the number to call. We've spoken to many people who are not too bothered about the result because it allows the players to get some rest in ahead of the new season. But one man who didn't want his holiday was City captain Bernardo Silva, who spoke to the media following the defeat.
No one wanted to lose. No one wanted more vacations. We're very used to not having holidays, unfortunately, obviously, because the schedule is crazy. But when we are in a competition, we take it very seriously, and we had a lot of ambition for this Club World Cup, so we're very disappointed.
Yeah, very disappointed to be out. Obviously, financially, it's a blow as far as City are concerned. A lot made of the fact that they'll now get a bit of extra rest, which is right. And I'll tell you the other thing, Coisty, is a lot of other Premier League sides, we haven't mentioned this, but a lot of other Premier League sides will be heading out to the States or elsewhere in the world to play their pre-season games. So is City any worse off than they are?
I would suggest yes. I would suggest yes, because the pre-season schedule that these clubs will be doing is all prepared, and they do it every season. This is something new. Whether you call it pre-season or post-season, it's certainly a tournament in between the end and the start, and it is a competition that takes a lot of involvement in terms of your training, because it's a massive tournament, and you prepare for it as you would any big tournament. And you can hear the disappointment in Bernardo Silva's interview there, and he's absolutely right in everything he says. There's not one of those players at any of the clubs are looking to get knocked out early so they can get a holiday. That's an accusation that can never be levelled at them, because once you start in a tournament, it doesn't matter who you are, what the tournament is, you want to win it, you want to do your best in it, and the City players will be absolutely no different from that. It will be a little bit, I wouldn't call it a break, a slight bonus in the respect that they will have more time now, for a break before they prepare for the start of the season. But the fact of the matter is, they have been out there, they've been out there a long time, they've been playing games, some big games that will have taken its toll, as they do on players. And we won't know, I don't think, until we watch Chelsea and Manchester City later on in next season.
I mean, one positive I would say for them is the fact that the new boys, Cherky, Reinders, Nouri, they've had a chance to bond, they've had a chance to learn a lot about each other.
Yeah, of course it is. It's like anything else. And normally they wouldn't have the opportunity to do it until pre-season. But, for example, that the Liverpool lads will do when they go away pre-season, that will give them a chance to bond with their new teammates, which is, as you say and correctly say, is very, very important. From City's point of view, I don't know. I'm just a little bit concerned again. And I know people will say to me, you know, it's a one-off game against Al Hilal, and it is, and they've been knocked out, and that can happen. It doesn't take away from the shock and the surprise. It is a big shock, and it is a massive surprise. But I'll say it again, Jeff. The thing that, you know, triggered off my concern a little bit was the way they were losing goals. Now, and it's not a pre-season friendly, and it's not an end-of-season game. It's a proper game and a proper tournament where you want to do well, and that would be a concern for me.
And Pep wanted to win it, there's no question about that. And now the other big question mark is around Rodri, who came on as a substitute before then going off again later in the game. So what happened? We asked the Guardian's Manchester correspondent, Jamie Jackson, exactly that earlier in the show.
He was forced off, having been a substitute himself. So, you know, I don't think it's great at all. Hopefully for him and City, you know, it's a knock, etc. But the fact that he had to come off, especially after I think he certainly started the game against Juventus and looked good. The whole team did. You know, it's not a great sort of eventuality because, again, one of the massive issues he had last season, Guardiola's, he could not solve Rodri being out. I understand, you know, Ballon d'Or winner, all the rest of it, but you have to be able to, you can't rely on, you know, one player. We all know that. And that's kind of what happened last season with De Bruyne also being, injury hammered and not quite the player he has been. So, you know, these are issues.
Well, it's a big issue. It's a big worry, isn't it? We're waiting for some sort of statement just to clarify what has happened to Rodri. We hope it's nothing more than a tweak, but it's got to be a big concern for
That's a massive concern. That is because Jamie's 100% correct in what he said there. I felt, it wasn't the main reason. Well, actually, it was the main reason. It wasn't the total reason, the whole reason that Manchester City's form dipped during last season, Jeff, right? Because it did. I mean, when they went in that run, I think they won 1 in 12 and they lost 9 of them, which was absolutely remarkable. Now, I would suggest one of the main reasons was Rodri not being in that side, but it wasn't the entire reason. This is the thing. So he is absolutely vital to Manchester City moving forward. And I'm sitting, and I obviously hope for the lad himself, there is something else. We mentioned it with a wee chat before about it, you and I, didn't we? When you come back from a serious injury, you know, whether it's a knee or an ankle or a broken leg, whatever it is, your body will try and compensate and you'll feel like twinges in other areas. And I just hope from his point of view and City's point of view, it's something like that.
Does Pep need to curb his attacking instincts a little, do you think? I'm just looking at the starting lineup. You know, he's got Doku and Savinho as the wide men, neither of whom are particularly renowned for their defensive qualities. And at the back, he's got Mateus Nunes and Ryan Aït-Nouri, who are both better going forward than they are defensively.
Well, interesting listening to Danny there, and we spoke to Danny, and Danny correctly speaks about it in a defensive manner because that was where he played, and he makes some extremely valid points. You know, Manchester. Well, look at the FA Cup final, for example. Manchester City, you know, don't or haven't been keeping clean sheets on a regular basis, right? So, stating the obvious, when that's the case, you've got to score goals and you've got to score more than the opposition. You don't do that, you have a chance of losing the game. That's what happened in the cup final. You know, they huffed and puffed, and Crystal Palace scored a brilliant goal and deserved to win the cup final.
Yeah.
You know, and then you look at the other side of it, they're scoring 3 goals last night and losing 4. You know, so I would suggest that their problems would certainly be more defensive. I know they didn't score in the cup final, but I would suggest certainly their problems are far more defensively orientated than the other forward
which
areas.
brings us to Greeno's point here. He said, do you think that City need to get a centre-half in? Conceding so many goals must be a worry. Stones and Ake not fit, and Ruben Dias, for me, seems to have gone downhill. That was Greeno's view.
Greeno, I agree. I was Ruben Dias's biggest fan. I really was. He's just dipped. Now, whether it's a dip in form, you'd hope that's all it is, but he doesn't seem the same centre-back that he once was and the same leader that he once was. Vardiol's when he came in there and play left centre-back, but they really are missing John Stones. They're really missing John Stones, Jeff. And as you say, I don't think it would do them any harm. I don't know if the two fullbacks that played against Al Hilal are capable of just sitting a little bit more defensively, but I don't think it would do them any harm having two fullbacks. I'm not saying just sit there in a back four, tight back four all the time, but perhaps be a little bit more aware of your defensive duties.
Yeah. Brad's just texted and he said, did Jeff just call Rodney? Brad, no one noticed it. No one noticed it.
Brad, I have to inform you, I was bringing it up at the end of this conversation.
Brad said he'll be calling him Dave next. Brilliant. Thanks, Brad. Coming up, we turn our attention to the other side of Manchester and ask a man who won the Premier League 5 times with them just how desperately they need to sell players so they can bring in the ones that Ruben Amorim wants. That's next.
Plays that villain role very well now. It's crying out for a little bit more attention. It comes with a lot of crazy people. I took it personally and it kind of made me rebel a bit more. To be honest, I don't really care anymore. I'm never going to change.
Good morning, 9:18, Tuesday, July the 1st. This is talkSPORT Breakfast with the Arnold Clark app. Buy a car, then join Arnold Clark Rewards to enjoy access to great giveaways and everyday perks. I'm Jeff Stelling Ally McCoist is with me. Cricket back tomorrow. Second test between England and India. It's at Edgbaston, of course. England named an unchanged side, despite calling up Jofra Archer this week to their match day squad. Veteran bowler Chris Woakes, who lead England's attack, spoke about Archer and just how good it's been to have him back involved with the squad.
You know, injuries in sport are obviously part and parcel, fast bowlers in particular, but I think, you know, Jofra's had his fair share over the last few years, and it's, you know, people don't see the hard times always, and, you know, there's a lot of time spent in the gym and rehabbing with physios and surgeons, and, you know, it's mentally a difficult battle as well. So I'm just delighted for Joff to be back around the group, back in the test squad. It's obviously exciting for us as a team to have a player of his quality back with us, but more importantly it's for him, the hard work and dedication he's put in to give himself the opportunity to get back where he is now, because, you know, the injuries and sort of the hard times that he's had physically, you know, it would have been easy for him to just give up on red ball cricket. So amazing that he's, you know, had that dedication to get back where he is today, so really pleased for him.
Chris Woakes on Jofra Archer. A reminder, overseas listeners can hear live ball-by-ball commentary of the second test on the talkSPORT Cricket YouTube channel. Our coverage gets underway at 10:30 on Wednesday. Right, it's safe to say it's chaos at Manchester United. It usually is. It's our understanding they're closing in on Brian Mbeumo from Brentford, but they won't be able to get him unless they get rid of a few unpopular characters.
Rashford is suddenly through on goal, and he's beaten the goalkeeper and has scored his first Premier League goal for Aston Villa. A man reborn under Unai Emery and at Aston Villa.
Every player that performs well on loan is a good news for our clubs.
Garnacho! What a magnificent Manchester United goal!
It's not a disciplinary thing, it's just a performance thing in all the things that you have to perform to be a Manchester United player.
And Rashford will now run a Godfrey, and he's passed him inside the area, and he's put on a play for Anthony.
He's a top player if he wants.
Got the opportunity to play out of Sancho on the far side. He's in the area, right footed. Jadon Sancho wins the Conference League for Chelsea.
Yeah, Manchester United have made it pretty clear they need to shift some players out to bring others in addition to Cunha, who, of course, they've already got. So, Coisty, I mean, Rashford, Sancho, Garnacho, Anthony, how do they get rid of them? Actually, should they want to get rid of them? Because, you know, when you look at it, that's not a bad quartet on paper, is it?
Yeah, but they've got to freshen up that playing staff. That's the one, I think it's a glaring thing they have to do. He has to get his own men in there, his own players in there. He has to get an opportunity to do that. He will be given an opportunity to do it, Ruben Amorim, and he has to start by offloading. Now, as you correctly say, when players are on contracts, that's easier said than done. So you have to rely to a certain degree on, for example, Anthony going to Real Betis, doing well, enjoying it, playing again, scoring goals, right? So he's in a far better place. Rashford, I still think there's more to come from him. We saw him at Villa, but he was back playing. He was playing well in some of the games, in particular one of the Champions League games. Was it PSG game? Can't remember it anyway, top of my head, but he played really, really well. Back playing again, looked as though he's enjoying himself. So they have to rely on that. Sancho, clearly another one. We know that he has to get away from there. I saw him at Dortmund, the Champions League. It was last year before, playing with freedom that I hadn't seen him playing in years. So, but you have to rely on them wanting to do that. They ain't going to go for nothing. They're sitting there on great contracts. So, you know, there's negotiation involved. There's bits and pieces involved. And you have to rely on the player himself wanting to go and play somewhere.
Well, look, let's get more of this with a man who knows a thing or two about Manchester United. He won the Premier League 5 times with them. It's a very good morning to John O'Shea. Morning, John.
Good morning, John. How are you?
Morning, Jeff. Morning, Ali. Ali, I'm not happy with you.
What have I done now?
You were in Waterford. You were in a couple of my local pubs, and you didn't text me for a pint of Guinness.
By the way, John, I'm going to I'll tell you the full story, mate. We cycled into Waterford. I don't know. And by the way, first time I've been there. What a beautiful place that is. So,
it's not bad, eh?
Oh, mate. So we're getting to the hotel, and the boys were going for some tea, I think, to the rugby club. I could hardly walk, mate. So I thought to myself, I'll let them go. And there was one of the guys came in to interview me for a local paper, and I'm having a bit of a chat with him. And I says, just a matter of interest for you, man. I said, where's my best pint of Guinness in Waterford? And he looked at me and he said, I said, I'm going for a couple of pints. I said, I'm going to have a shower, I'm going to nip out for a couple of pints. And I went into, is it Tully's, mate?
Tully's, yeah.
John, I was in Ireland all week. It might have been my best couple of hours, my favourite couple of hours. I just sat at the bar myself. There was some live music on. It was brilliant. A couple of chats with a few of the boys and 2 or 3 pints of Guinness, mate. And if I'd known you were there, believe me, I'd have phoned you.
I know, it was probably best we stayed apart.
Well, I was thinking that. I was cycling the next morning. I'm not sure you've been the perfect warm-up for me.
It sounds like it could have been a session. Could have become a session. John, look, you mentioned there Rashford, Sancho, Garnacho, Anthony. Is this going to be a case of Manchester United, if they want to get them out of the club, having to loan them again rather than sell them? And would that be enough?
Yeah, I think it's going to be the case, because it's like you've just mentioned about the wages. That's going to be the issue, and I think it'll probably be 50-50. They'll probably be able to sell a couple, and they'll probably have to loan a couple. I'm sure those negotiations are probably going on as we speak, and hopefully, like you mentioned, that they get it done nice and early. Obviously, they've got negotiations going on with Mbeumo. You'd imagine that'll hopefully go through maybe the next day or two, hopefully. But listen, Brentford are obviously playing hardball, which they've every right to do, and hopefully the player might be able to force it through himself a little bit. But listen, there's plenty of work to do. The players coming back, as you mentioned, some have done well on their loan spells, but I think the manager's probably made it clear to them that their future might be elsewhere.
John, I'm going to ask you, do you think, generally speaking, the United fans are completely aware of what's involved here, the task that the manager has? Because, you know, changing I'm not entirely changing a playing staff, but there's in his ideal world, I would think he'll want 6, 7, maybe 8 new faces in his team. That clearly isn't going to happen overnight. Do you think there's an acceptance and an understanding from the Manchester United support?
Yeah, from the fan base, there's a definite awareness, Ali, that the job that's in hand. When you think of obviously where they finished in the league, the performances at Old Trafford last season. You're potentially needing a whole new attacking force in a sense. You know what I mean? They're going to have to get that support in for Højlund. You know what I mean? He can't be the main man. He's got to be giving that support and that backup. And then you're looking through the spine of the team, I suppose. Can they back up those areas? And if they can, they know, listen, the Premier League is such a different competitive animal now. Look where they finished. Look where Tottenham finished. And they were the 2 teams in a Europa League final. You know, it's an incredible, tough league at the minute.
I want to talk about one of your other old teams, Sunderland, John, because they've done a couple of pieces of business. 30 million for Habib Diarra from Strasbourg. They brought in Ranildo from Atletico Madrid. It sounds like they're going to give it a proper go.
Yeah, listen, they've done a clever bit of business. Obviously, they've got some funds in from the couple of sales that they made. That Diarra, we faced him actually with the Republic of Ireland when he played for Senegal. He's a talented boy, so I think he'll be well suited. He'll be well suited to the Premier League. Very energetic, talented, but really aggressive as well. And he'll, I'm sure, one that the Sunderland fans will enjoy in midfield to watch.
It's going to be a big ask for him, John, as it has been. You know, recently the promoted sides, you know, would indicate history would tell us is a heck of a job. Obviously, you're right, they got the money in from Bellingham and Tom Watson. It looks as though it's money well spent. But just give us an idea, how difficult is it, you think, for team newly promoted sides?
Yeah, Ali, listen, it's going to be very difficult. But you'll know that support that they have up there will be a huge help to them. They do have that kind of, I suppose, it's like a fresh start for them up there at the minute as well, and they have that momentum where I suppose they surprised everyone when they did get promoted as such, apart from themselves, because I think they had that inner belief in the momentum from the crowd as well. And it's a shame, obviously, young Watson has gone to Brighton, but they did get good money in for him, and I suppose the kid felt himself it was a better chance for him, so you have to understand that one a little bit. But it would have been great to see a homegrown kid as well on that stage in the Premier League.
He gave them a fair old farewell as well, mind, didn't he?
Hey, listen, they can't forget. They can't give him too much.
What an occasion that was! What an occasion! John, you'll know Keith Andrews from your Republic of Ireland days. New Brentford manager. Did you think he was the sort of managerial material when you played with him?
Oh, well, listen, without a doubt. I'm just buzzing that a young Irish manager has got a chance in the Premier League as well. But going back to Keith himself, I knew probably, I think he said it himself yesterday, 2 or 3 years ago, he was ready to be a head coach. And I think it's been kind of the set piece coach thing has just been a bit of a distraction. Keith's not. He's far more than a set piece coach. He's been planning on being a head coach for a long time now. So, and I'm sure, like as we all know, Brentford don't do things lightly as well. They'll have done obviously a lot of, and they've had him in the doors. They're obviously the last season, so they know exactly what Keith is about, and I'm delighted for him, and I'm sure he'll have a fantastic crack at it, and I hope it goes well for him. But I hope he loses I hope he loses one player in the meantime.
Yeah.
But I know. Listen, he's got a couple of great Irish lads there as well, so it's fantastic for Queevy and Kelleher, and he'll obviously continue to develop Nathan Collins as well. So you never know, you might see 1 or 2 more Irish guys heading that direction as well.
Brilliant. Music to the ears of Brentford fans, I would think that, John. John, thanks very much indeed.
Thanks, John. All the best, mate.
Pleasure, guys. Take care.
Take care.
Former Manchester United, Sunderland, Republic of Ireland defender John O'Shea. Big thanks to him. Coming up, did Carlos Alcaraz's struggles yesterday give more hope to Jack Draper? We'll discuss that next with the former Wimbledon finalist Nick Kyrgios. That is next.
It may have all wrapped up around 4 a.m, but you better pinch yourself because you're not still dreaming. Manchester City are out of the Club World Cup.
And stop the world! Manchester City want to get off. They are out of the Club World Cup. They have been humiliated by Al Hilal of Saudi Arabia in one of the most remarkable games this competition has seen so far.
And as our reporter Ben Jacobs has pointed out, Man City will have suffered more than just reputational damage after that.
This game has cost them over £9 million. If they'd have got to the next round, 15 million at stake as well. Suddenly you're halfway to buying a Ryan Cherky in terms of getting your money back.
Elsewhere, a day in the sun for the Brits out at Wimbledon yesterday. 7 of them have progressed to round 2. There's more home hopefuls in action today, including Jack Draper And Nick Kyrgios has told us he's got an excellent chance this year.
I think Draper's definitely a contender for Wimbledon, and pretty much any tournament he plays. You know, he's a great athlete, big left-hander, super professional. I think that, you know, British tennis right now is in incredible form.
And the new Brentford manager Keith Andrews has spoken to the media for the first time since his appointment. He was asked what's to be expected from his first transfer window in charge.
The way of the footballing world, you always have to expect the interest in good players. I think that's just natural.
There's more at talksport.com.
This is talkSPORT Breakfast with Arnold Clark at the UK's best used car deals guaranteed. I'm Jeff Stelling Ally McCoist is with me. Just 4 days away from the Oasis reunion tour getting underway. Don't forget, talkSPORT are giving away 2 tickets to Oasis in Manchester. If you head to talksport.com/win, you can find out how to enter. Tony's a regular contributor here. He's just texted us and said, "Hi lads, keep an eye on Robert Lewandowski joining Liverpool. He's seen a backup if Alexander Isak doesn't come off." What do you make of that?
Well, I raised a few eyebrows when I said Liverpool should go and try and get Harry Kane, right? Because obviously Harry's enjoying himself out in Germany, won his first Bundesliga. Would he be interested in coming back? And he'll hate me for saying it, and he'll text me later on to try and beat Alan Shearer's record, which is nothing short of ridiculous. Al's record, which in normal circumstances you don't think MD would beat. If there's any capable of doing it, it'd be Harry Kane, right? So that would interest him clearly, because he's now winning things, and he loves goal scoring records, as we've seen. But Lewandowski, an out and out proper number 9 goal that just about guarantees you goals. Absolutely. I mean, could you imagine Liverpool with the talent they've got in wider areas in midfield with a number 9 that could get them 30 goals a season? I think they'd be just about unstoppable.
Even in the twilight of his career, it would be great to see him in the Premier League, I think.
Wouldn't it just?
It would. And now, day one of Wimbledon was a record breaker for British players. 7 advancing to the second round. Sonny Catal, Katie Boulder, Emma Raducanu, Cam Norrie, Arthur Ferry, Ollie Tarvett and Billy Harris. So what's in store today? Here's our reporter Amelia Beltrao with more.
After temperatures hit 33 degrees yesterday, a new record for the opening day at Wimbledon, it seems today's half of the draw are going to face a similar challenge. The man of the moment, world number 4 Jack Draper, is in action, taking on Argentina's Sebastian Baez, as is former British number 1 Dan Evans against fellow Brit Jay Clark. Novak Djokovic will take centre court as the Serbian seeks a record-equalling 8th Wimbledon title and a 25th Grand Slam, while Jannik Sinner will be hoping to avenge his French Open final heartbreak and secure his first crown on grass. One person who may still be riding the high of the last Grand Slam is Coco Gauff. She's in action, while Barbora Krejcikova will be hoping to keep hold of her crown as Wimbledon champion.
Amelia, thank you very much indeed. Delighted to say we can now speak to talkSPORT's star pundit for the tournament. A very good morning to the 2022 Wimbledon finalist, Nick Kyrgios. Morning, Nick.
Good morning, Nick. How are you?
Hey guys, how are you? Good to see you.
Yeah, good. Look, before we talk tennis, you had your first experience of working with Coisty yesterday. How did you find that?
He was awesome, and you know, I've been told that not many people can match my wits, and he was right there. So it was a lot of fun yesterday, and I'm really excited for this.
I thoroughly enjoyed it, mate. We had a great day yesterday, and obviously culminating with a the podcast that we did with yourself. It was great fun. Really, really enjoyed it, mate. But the tennis yesterday, you and I spoke about it. It was just a different level, and obviously I had to leave the favourites game, Carlos Alvarez, and it ended up going to a 5-setter. I think I left after the third set, and you did say you fancied that outcome, but didn't Fognini do well?
Yeah, I mean, Fognini was very emotional. This was probably his last Wimbledon ever, and he's calling it quits. But this is what I told you about Alcaraz. You know, these early rounds, he gets better as the tournament goes on. He almost has too many options. That's what I like to say about Alcaraz. He kind of like has way too many options, doesn't lock in early, and he's very susceptible to going down in these earlier rounds. But if he makes it to the second week, I think he'll be the favourite. But he was cutting it pretty fine there, not going to lie.
I mean, I'm just looking and thinking that people like Jack Draper, and of course I know he knows Alcaraz, and I know he knows he gets stronger in events, but he'll see those frailties, he'll see the unforced errors, he'll see the double faults, and maybe that will encourage him to think, actually, this could be Draper's year.
Yeah, I think Draper's got more than a chance to win Wimbledon. You know, I think making that semi-finals of the US Open last year, I think he's got the confidence underneath him now. Sebastian Baez is not going to be an easy task though. It's a tough first round. Sebastian, makes a lot of balls, so Jack Draper's going to have to lock in early, which is good. It's going to have to lock him early, and then maybe it's going to, it will give Draper the confidence to really think he can win Wimbledon for sure.
Nick, we spoke about it yesterday, the hottest first day ever, I think, in Wimbledon's history. I mean, it was absolutely sweltering. Is it stating the obvious? Does that suit some players? I'm thinking of the Brits, for example, who wouldn't normally play in those circumstances. Would that be an advantage to other players?
I mean, yes and no. I think the Brits, they've just got so much pressure to perform around this time of the year anyway. I think these conditions are really going to help Draper. He's got an absolute rocket of a serve, and the hotter it is, the ball travels faster. So I think Draper, the hotter it is, the more I actually favour him to go deeper in the tournament. But one match that I'm really looking forward to is Dan Evans versus Jay Clark.
Yeah.
I love watching two Brits or two people from the same country going at it at a Grand Slam. It's a leveler. And, it's a dogfight out there, so I'm going to grab my popcorn and watch that one.
It was emotional, Dan, wasn't he? And I saw his interview before it, and he was emotional.
Yeah, I mean, look, that answered all the questions for me. Dan Evans loves this sport. He just wants to entertain. He wants to put on a good show for his people. He doesn't want to let people down. But today's going to be a big task. Whether it's not probably his last Wimbledon, maybe as well. And Jay Clark's got nothing to lose, so this one's going to be a good one.
We're talking about maybe last Wimbledon's. Novak Djokovic, you've got a good record against him. You know how to beat him. But I just wonder, does he have one last Wimbledon dance in him? Could he upset everybody?
Oh, look, I mean, this is the little kid talking for me. I hope he does. I hope he gets 25 and then he just calls it quits and he can just go and enjoy his family and never play tennis again. But look, I think Alcaraz and Sinner are just so locked in, especially when it gets to the business stages of the tournament. I hope, look, I'm a fan of the game and I want Novak Djokovic to win, but whether or not he can put 7 matches together and in best of 5 sets and beat both of those guys, it's going to be very tough.
It was a good day for the Brits. I think it's seven victories. I think there's another 8 involved today. I'm sure there's 8 involved today. You mentioned a couple of the games that we enjoyed was Katie Boulton. Obviously, Emma Raducanu came through a game which I wouldn't say she was in a no-win situation, but it was a big game for her.
Yeah, definitely. I think with everything that Emma Raducanu is going through at the moment, with the media, British #1, it's just good to kick off your campaign with a win. Whether or not, you're on one of the biggest courts at Wimbledon, it's never easy. Everyone at a Grand Slam can play. Everyone's capable. So it's a good way to kick it off. But I think Katie Boulter's got a chance to go deep. She loves playing on the grass. She's got a big game. She lives up to the moment. And beating Paula Badosa, first round, top 10 player, already having a win like that moving forward into the Wimbledon campaign is dangerous. So I'd keep an eye out for Katie Boulter to go deep.
Nick, what's it like for you at the moment at Wimbledon then, having to stand and watch and talk about it rather than playing it?
Man, I'm living the dream, honestly. I mean, when I think about where I came from and my tennis journey, even though I'm not playing, obviously I would love to be playing, but still being around it, talking about it, and still adding some entertainment, it's fun. I was watching Naomi Osaka yesterday on the grounds, having some Pims. I was enjoying myself. So, no, I really do wish I was playing, but at the same time, doing this every day and informing people and giving people insights, this is amazing.
Nick, before I let you go, can't let you go. You mentioned the Pims there. Just under £9 for a pint of Stella. I mean, that's not the answer. That is not the answer what the boys want to hear, mate. Just under £9.
Yeah, that's expensive, and don't forget, I'm from Australia, so that's over $20. That's over $20. So, yeah. I better get back on the tennis court very quickly if I'm going to keep having some drinks at Wimbledon.
Nick,
that's for sure.
that is the Scotsman in Coisty coming out. You're at a fantastic place. You expect to pay top dollar for your drinks, for goodness' sake.
We need cheaper drinks.
I'm with you, mate. I'm with you all day.
Brilliant. Hey, Nick, enjoy the fortnight. It's great to talk to you, mate.
Great to see you, mate. All the best.
See you soon. See you later.
Yeah, Nick Kyrgios.
I'm not having it. I'm not having £9 for a pint anyway. Carry on.
I think it's the same price in the hotel over the road, isn't it?
Well, I don't know. Brazil buys mine.
Oh, does he? Okay. Well, it's not far off. You are going to pay every big event. You're going to pay premium prices. You've got to understand that, haven't you?
No, I get that. I do get it. But it's when they actually give you a spanking at the same time. I don't mind paying a couple of quid, but it's when they give you a right spanking at the same time. That worries me a little bit.
Yeah, it's fantastic to hear Nick Kyrgios there, isn't it? For your daily roundup each day at Wimbledon, by the way, tune in to our new show. It's Wimbledon Unfiltered with Nick. He joins Gordon Smart for a look at all the day's biggest news.
Brilliant yesterday, him and Gordon.
Yeah.
Jeff, I really loved it, mate. We sat and he was very open. He was very friendly. I just what you see is what you get there. He was in top form.
He talks a brilliant game, doesn't he? And Coisty, as you'll gather, is on the latest episode of that, which is up now on the talkSPORT channel. Check it out on our YouTube channel or watching your smart TV at 8 p.m. every night. Our thanks to Nick Kyrgios. Coming up, we ask Ali about the future of Andy Robertson and whether he could return to Scotland with his future at Liverpool in some doubt.
Plays that villain role very well now. That's crying out for a little bit more attention. It comes with a lot of crazy people. I took it personally and it kind of made me rebel a bit more. To be honest, I don't really care anymore. I'm never going to change.
Good morning, 9:48. Another scorching day in London. I hope it's glorious where you are as well. Tuesday, the 1st of July, past halfway in the year, aren't we?
We are.
Goodness me. Flies past, doesn't it? This is talkSPORT Breakfast. I'm Jeff Stelling Ally McCoist with me. Let's finish with a bit of this.
Ask me. Back to McCoist. The goal's been coming, and it's supplied once again by Ally McCoist.
Chop, 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 chop. I just used to chop it back over the net. Hi there, it's Sean Dyche here. You're listening to the Alan Brazil Sports Breakfast Show. Can't it be a bit AC/DC, man? But the football ground, it's pardon me.
I'm saying a mongoose.
Yeah, but it's
It's
like
a
that.
mongoose-like creature. It might be the mongoose, in fact.
Marvellous! You've got no idea! I used to be quite well respected in footballing circles. So ask me. Amazing.
The daft thing is, I've heard it 1,000 times, and it still makes me laugh.
And it's such a lads, boys thing that we laugh at wind, right? It doesn't matter what age you are, from a small child to adult men like ourselves, you can't beat a burp or a bum burp, right? It makes us laugh. As childish as it is, we do smile, and that makes me smile, and it makes you smile, and it certainly made Brazil smile.
It's pathetic but true, I'm afraid to say. Look, we've only got a few minutes to. Let's press on with the first of the questions. It's an interesting one as well.
It is,
with the arrival of Milos Kerkez at Liverpool, where do you think Andy Robertson should play his football next season?
The answer to that be wherever he wants, right? Because Andy Robertson has been fantastic. What a career, right? From starting off, I think he was at Celtic as a kid. I don't like using the word rejected, but were let go, released. Went to Queen's Park. I think he went to Dundee United, Hull, Liverpool. It's one of the great Scottish success stories, I think. I really do. 80 odd caps, I'm not sure how many it is. Goes to Liverpool, plays in a top team, wins leagues, cups, you name it. And it looks, you could see it last season. You know, he wasn't starting every game, and you could see there was maybe a train of thought that his time at Liverpool was perhaps coming to an end. Now, I don't know. Andy Robertson could be the type of guy, he'll have a chat with the manager, of course he will, and you're right, they've signed Kerkez from Bournemouth, who is a terrific player and a good signing. Wouldn't it surprise me if Andy Robertson rolls his sleeves up and says, right, I'm having some of this, right, I'm going nowhere. But if he doesn't make that decision and decides, yeah, I'm a 30, 31, is he 31 now?
He's 31.
Yeah.
Just 31, really, a couple of months ago.
Right, so by far and away, he's still got some great years ahead of him to play. The one thing he is, he's extremely fit, you know, in terms of his ability to go up and down that left-hand side. Truthfully, too early for him to go back to Scotland, I think. I do. Obviously, Tierney going back to Celtic would eliminate, you'd think it would eliminate that club straight away.
I mean, he was being linked with Atletico Madrid not so very long ago.
My point being, could he follow in the footsteps of a likes of a Gilmore, McTominay, Shea Adams, boys like that?
I think Atletico took Ferguson, you know, and in the twilight of his career.
100% there would be absolutely no shortage of offers for Andy Robertson, home or indeed abroad. Now, I don't know whether he maybe fancies 2 or 3 years abroad. If he did, nobody on the planet could grudge him it. He has been a fantastic servant to Liverpool, Scotland and wherever he's been.
Yeah, absolutely. He has been a brilliant servant and may continue to be a brilliant servant. You're dead right. He's earned the right to decide
100%.
where he plays his football next.
100%, mate.
Next up, you watched Carlos Alcaraz at Wimbledon yesterday.
Brilliant.
Who's the most impressive sports person you've ever seen live?
God, there's a
tough,
question.
Isn't it, that?
There is a question. Who's the most impressive? I think it's very, very difficult to nail down to one. One that stuck with me as a 17-year-old boy was Maradona at Hampden. I will never, ever forget that if I live to be 100. Maradona's without doubt comes into the equation for one of the greatest players to have played the game. I saw him at Hampden, I think it was 1979. He might have been 17. Oh, I was 17. I know he was young. I think he just missed out in the 78 squad when they won it in Argentina. But dear me, that the performance he put on yon day at Hampden, Jeff, was mind-blowing. and as a young man going to watch it, Tiger Woods live hitting a golf ball, dear me, Jack Nicklaus.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of young guys, and I understand with Tiger, remarkable, brilliant, but Jack's still got the record for majors. I remember watching Jack, I think it might have been Tom Watson's last British Open at St Andrews, and I remember Jack walking up the 18th with Tom Watson, and I want to see Luke Donald. It was definitely one of the younger British players, and Nicklaus just had this aura about him, and a talent, and a gentleman, and just a wonderful sportsman. So Maradona, Nicklaus, Woods, who else is? I'm just trying to think.
I'll give you a couple. Lionel Messi, for me,
of course,
would be one. John McEnroe is another.
Yeah.
And I was lucky enough to see, in athletics, Carl Lewis in his pomp, and he was amazing.
I'll throw one at you, Jeff.
Amazing.
I'll throw one at you that a lot of people, I'm not saying wouldn't think of, but maybe a wild card. AP McCoy.
Yeah, AP McCoy would be another one. And another for me would be Viv Richards.
Yeah.
There are so many. That's a whole show. I mean, that's a whole 4 hour show.
That's a 6 o'clock conversation for 4 hours, not a quarter to 10 one for 5 minutes.
Scott in Worcester's straight in, best live in his prime, Tiger Woods, without a doubt.
Must come into the equation.
Of course he comes into the equation, yeah.
But this is a beautiful thing again, because there's absolutely no right or wrong here.
Yeah.
It's a personal opinion. I mean, some of the older guys who will clearly appreciate Tiger Woods, you go back, I mentioned, someone will go back to Arnold Palmer.
Yeah.
Gary Player and boys like that, absolutely fantastic. I'm just thinking rugby as well. I enjoy my rugby. There's some fantastic rugby players over the period as well. I mean, I enjoy watching Finn Russell. I'm not going to say Finn Russell comes into that category of a Woods, but you mentioned guys that we love watching. Finn Russell would come into that category for me.
And you mentioned AP McCoy on the flat side of that game. I would give you Frankie Dettori and Steve Corcoran as
Frankie.
Yeah,
Frankie had everything. He could back up the winners with an intelligence, a bubbly, brilliant person. He was on Question of Sport as well. Frankie.
Yeah.
I mean, what a guy! What a guy to be around. Tremendous.
You stretched out. You mentioned Question of Sport, which made me think John Parrott, and with all due respect to Johnny, wouldn't be, but. You might put Steve Davis or Stephen Hendry or Hurricane Higgins in there as well. And Ronnie. Oh, wow, Phil Taylor at darts. Oh. Look, it's... I mean, it goes on and on and on, doesn't it? And lots of people... I mean, Ronaldo gets some suggestions here. Giles the Villa fan comes in with Shane Warne, which is another great suggestion too. So we all got our own opinions. Somebody said Freddie Flintoff. As you said, there is no wrong answer.
Everybody will have their own individual favourites. Of that, there is absolutely no doubt.
Yeah, guys, Stuart in Nottinghamshire says Muhammad Ali, and you're right, but we were talking about who you've seen live, and I was never fortunate enough to see Muhammad Ali live. I mean, I wished I had.
I was just saying, didn't see him live. Yeah. Then you could have another question. The other question would be, which sports person did you not get the opportunity to see that you would have loved to have seen?
You would have loved to have seen, yeah. I mean, we all saw this fella play, by the way. Lee says Kenny Dalglish playing live. It's absolutely fantastic, doubt. And a prime Mike Tyson says John, who's working with Debs at Debs Ironing Shop in Wakefield.
Absolutely lethal he was in his prime, wasn't he? He was brutal, arguably the most brutal.
We could go on about this all morning. Maybe we will do next Monday, who knows. What you got on today?
Good wee day today. I've got a couple of interviews, and then I'm hitting the gym, and then I'm kind of back up the road.
Oh, brilliant.
What about yourself?
I'm going to go home to bed for a few hours, and then tomorrow I'm back into London, day out with a mate.
Great.
Might just have a
beer or two.
A beer or two. And I'm happy to pay £9 for a pint. Happy. Thanks, Coisty. Loved your company,
Loved it,
mate.
great. We'll see you next week, mate.
Brilliant, will do. Jim and Simon are coming next. Alan Alley, back with you from 6 tomorrow morning.
Sport.